Hello everybody, before the video starts I would like you all to subscribe and like the video. That's it, enjoy. Ch.1. Unknown POV. When I woke up I was in a hospital bed with monitors attached to me and two people sitting in the room fast asleep. Looking at the clock on the wall it appears to be 3 in the morning. I had a major headache as two sets of memories invade my mind, one of the body I was currently in which was known as Matthew Stromberg, and the other set of memories from a man called John Williams. The last memory of John Williams being hit in a head-on accident on his way home from work. He had a lonely life and a somewhat average one in America, working a 9-to-5 office job as an accountant. He was very young when he was apparently killed, though, only 25, but he never knew his father as he abandoned him shortly after he was born. His mother was a loving mother who did all she could to raise him, working herself to death for a better life for him and dying of cancer shortly after he graduated college. Leaving him all alone in the world, and his new job as an accountant left him with little time for social life and his free time wanting to decompress from his work, making him give all his free time to books, movies, and video games. The current body memories of Matthew: he was a popular teenager, extremely athletic, and was decent at his studies, just slightly above average. The two people in the room were his few remaining family members, the older woman being his Aunt Renee and the other his cousin Bella. In this life, his father and mother both died also in a car accident like in his other memories, on their way back from the airport to pick him up from his uncle and aunt's house. His father was from Sweden, which explains his last name. His mother was the older sister of his Aunt Renee. At the time of his parents' death, he was only 3. His aunt was married to his uncle Charlie, the now chief of police in the town of Forks, Washington. After his parents' death, his aunt and uncle legally adopted him, but kept his last name with respect to his parents. After a few years of living with them they got divorced. He left with his cousin and aunt to live in Phoenix, Arizona after the divorce, since they were his blood relatives. They have other memories from his other life of always wanting a father figure, and the memories of this life of his uncle Charlie treating him as his own son made him feel extremely guilty. Plus, from the current memories, his aunt does not seem the most reliable or responsible person to raise a child, let alone two. The other memories from the other life dawned on me, upon realizing that these two women look exactly like the actresses from the movies of the Twilight saga. Then realizing that I am in the Twilight universe, and other memories of characters come into my head from my current life, like Jacob, who we used to play with as kids in Forks. After all these thoughts and memories were done invading his consciousness, the two women in the room woke up and seeing him awake rushed to his side. "Matt, you are awake. How are you feeling? Did you need me to get the nurse or doctor?" Aunt Renee asked me with worry lacing her voice. "I am fine other than a huge migraine," I say with a small smile on my face and trying not to panic from realizing that I am in the Twilight universe. "Hold on, let me get the nurse," Aunt Renee says, walking out of the room to get a nurse. "You scared the life out of us, Matt. You just passed out in the middle of eating dinner and wouldn't wake up, so we called an ambulance," Bella says to me with worry still on her face and in her voice. "Growing up together we were inseparable when we were kids. She was like a younger sister to me, especially since she is a few months younger than me. Even though she was not as popular as me in school and some of the other girls would pick on her, I would always come to her defense. Sorry, I have no idea what happened," I say to her while wincing at the headache I still have. Then Aunt Renee and a nurse come into the room. "Hello Matthew, glad you are awake. Your Aunt Renee here told me that you have a headache. Are you experiencing any other pain or issues?" the nurse asks me while checking all the machines and monitors attached to me. "No, just one of the worst headaches I have ever experienced," I say while still wincing from it. "I will get you some medicine, but first I am going to tell the doctor you are awake," the nurse says to me while leaving the room. After a few minutes of waiting the doctor comes into the room with the nurse too. The nurse hands me a small cup with water and one with 2 pills. "You do not have a fever, no sweating, no increased blood pressure. I am not sure what caused your issue. We got the results from your blood test and you seem to be in very good shape and healthy as a horse. We could try some other tests, but do you remember anything that may have caused this before you passed out?" the doctor says to me while checking the clipboard at the end of my bed. Wanting to just leave and go home already, I decided to give a reasonable excuse. "Well, I do not think I ate or drank anything today until dinner time. I was just not hungry and got distracted," I say sheepishly. This makes both Aunt Renee and Bella look at me in shock and then annoyance. "Huh, well that would do it. You should always try to eat twice a day at least and drink a minimum of 2 water bottles a day. Especially since you are a growing teenager and doing sports, I would suggest drinking about 3 or 4 water bottles a day with at least 3 meals a day, the doctor says to me while sighing in relief that it was nothing too serious that may have caused this. Well, he can stay the night if you want him to, or he is fine to go home too if you want, the doctor says, turning to Aunt Renee. Yes, it is very late and I am sure he wants to sleep in his own bed, Aunt Renee says to the doctor, to which I quickly nod my head in agreement. After being discharged from the hospital and getting into Aunt Renee's car, they both began lecturing me on how I needed to take better care of myself. I just nodded along with them and wanted to get home and sleep since my headache is gone now, but I feel extremely exhausted. Waking up the next day, I first look in my mirror to see what I look like, and it would seem to be that I am the spitting image of Chris Hemsworth when he played Thor. Feeling much more refreshed, I start to think now that I am in Twilight how to proceed. If I was not related to Bella, I would have tried to not get involved in the craziness, but now it would seem I have no choice. Hopefully, I can get turned too, and sooner than Bella. If not, then I would have no way to protect Bella or anyone else I care about. Either way, a week after waking up at the hospital goes by, and our flight to Forks to live with Uncle Charlie comes. We say our goodbyes to Aunt Renee and her new husband Phil Dwyer. He is not as buff as Chris Hemsworth but the same height, so 6 feet 3 inches or 190 centimeters when we played Thor, but a skinnier version, but after turning it will make him just as buff and taller. Alice Cullen Pav. As we were all sitting in the house, and they were each spending time with their mates, I could not help but feel jealous of my family since they each have their own mates. Only Edward and I have no one for now. Then I have a vision. The first begins a figure of a young woman holding hands with Edward, and then them finding love in one another. This young woman also seems to become one of my closest friends. After my vision ends, everyone tenses up since they saw me have one, and Edward's face scrunches up after reading my mind and seeing my vision. Before I can tell anyone else that I saw Edward's mate, I have another vision. This one is a very large male figure holding my hands as we kiss. Then the vision twists, and I see a huge bear-like figure standing in front of me as it protects me from a pack of wolves and a flock of bats. I was still excited since I had the vision of Edward and my mates, and they will be here soon. The second half of my vision left me confused, but I did not care for now, as I have my mate coming soon. With everyone looking at me wondering what vision I had, I can see Edward still seems upset at the vision involving his mate but just as confused at my second half vision of my mate. I just had the vision of Edward's mate and my mate. They will be coming to Forks soon. I am not sure how soon though, I say to them while jumping up and down in joy and excitement. I am happy that you both are going to finally meet your mates, Carlisle says to me after smiling at my excitement. Yes. All my kids will finally have someone to live life with, Esme says while smiling at that thought. I do not think this is a good idea. If they are humans, I do not intend to turn her into us to suffer forever, Edward says, bringing down the mood immediately. Fine, if you want to brood forever alone, then that's up to you. But I will do everything I can to keep my mate, I say to him while giving him an annoyed look. Matt Pav. After the plane landed, we head out of the airport and see Uncle Charlie waiting by his police cruiser for us. Seeing us, he starts to wave at us and smile. This causes Bella to sigh in embarrassment and duck her head while speedwalking toward him to stop him from continuing to embarrass her. Chuckling at her, I just wave back to Uncle Charlie and smile at him too. Taking my time there and waving and smiling at him the whole way, making Bella turn and look at me in annoyance and anger. Hey, Matt. Wow, did you grow to become big? How have you been? Uncle Charlie asks me while trying to shake my hand, but I give him a hug instead, catching him off guard, but he quickly hugs me back in a fatherly hug. I have been alright, what about you? How's life as the chief police? I ask him while Bella already got into the cruiser and was sitting in the back with her hood up trying to hide from the public. Not too different than when I wasn't chief, except a lot more responsibility. Though, are you sure you are okay? Your aunt called me and told me you were in the hospital after passing out a week ago, he says to me while looking at me in concern as I load the luggage into the trunk. Yeah, I messed up. Totally my fault. I'm fine now though, I say to him after closing the trunk and hear the window roll down by where Bella is sitting. Guys, can we leave already? Bella says, annoyed that it is taking forever according to teenage standards. Yeah, sure, sorry Bells, Charlie says and quickly enters the cruiser so we can leave the airport. During the ride back to his house, Uncle Charlie tried his best to converse with Bella, but both are socially awkward and Bella, being a teenager, just makes it harder to talk to her. After a short awkward silence, I step in and begin to talk to him and catch up on all that has been happening since we last saw him, which was about 10 years ago now. I know surprise I got a bout of inspiration and wanted to write fanfiction for Twilight. I will not drop my other fanfiction or this one. Like my other fanfiction, I promise to upload once a week minimum for both, most likely twice a week. Either way, hope you all enjoy it. Ch.2. Matt Pav. After an hour's drive from the airport we arrived at the house we grew up in. It was a white house with 2 stories and one of the nicer houses compared to the others in town. Walking inside, not much has changed since we were last here. Well, welcome back home. I did not touch your rooms after you moved to Phoenix, did not know what you both were into, so I feel fear to change it to your liking, Charlie says to us after we went to our old rooms and rubbed the back of his head in unsurety. Our rooms were across the hall from one another and Charlie's was further down from Bella's room. Yeah, I can see that, Bella says with some annoyance in her voice at him. It's fine, Uncle Charlie. It brings back all the great memories we had growing up here, I say to him, trying to cheer him up, and it seems to work as he gives me a smile. However, Bella rolled her eyes at me. I'll let you both unpack and when you are done maybe we can get something to eat. Charlie says to us while still unsure how to talk with us as Bella has been giving him the cold shoulder. Yeah, definitely, I am dying for something to eat. I say with some enthusiasm and before Bella can reject him, which she gave me the stink eye for. Great. Then I'll be downstairs watching some TV. Come and get me when you're ready, Charlie says while heading back down to the living room. I smile and nod to him while Bella sighs and starts to unpack in her room. Walking into my room I see a picture frame of my parents holding me as a toddler on my nightstand. This brings back some painful memories from both lives, trying to push the sadness away I sigh to myself. After unpacking my things, it did not take me long, plus I wanted to talk with Bella before we went to eat with Charlie. Knocking on her door, just to be safe and since it is common courtesy. Sigh, what do you want now, Charlie? Bella says with heavy annoyance in her voice. It's me, Bella, can I come in? I say through the door. Oh, Matt. Yeah, come in, she says with a lot less annoyance in her voice. She may love me like a brother but her default attitude is annoyed at everyone, especially on her special days of the month, then she is an angry monster. Walking in I see she is almost finished unpacking but is looking at all her old toys and photos in the room. Yeah, it was nice of him to leave things as we left them. Brings back some memories, some sad ones too. I forgot I left my only picture of my parents here, I say to her while taking a seat on her bed and a sad smile on my face. Matt, I am sorry. Bella says to me, trying to think of what to say to me and taking a seat next to me, giving me an awkward side hug. No, it's fine, I wanted to talk to you about how you have been treating Uncle Charlie, I say to her and push the depressing thoughts out of my head. I can see what I said to her made her tense up. Matt, Charlie hasn't been in our lives for the longest time, and I mean he could have come down to visit any time and he didn't. Plus you remember how he and Mom used to fight all the time, Bella says to me while anger is in her voice talking about the past. I get it, yeah, he could have taken some time off to visit us. However, what if Aunt Renee told him not to come since they did not have the best divorce? All I am saying is you should cut him a break and try to fix your relationship with him. You still have both your parents and both love you and treat you well, so do not regret one day you never made amends with him. I wish I could have one more day with both of mine one last time, I say to her as both sets of memories come to my mind and how in both lives I am an orphan and some tears involuntarily leave my eyes. It seems I have some bottled up emotions from both lives. Matt, you are not wrong. I will try to be nicer, Bella says to me, and I can see what I said made her think more about how she treats him and give me another hug. Clearing throat, well, finish up and then come down and get us when you are ready to go out. I am hungry as hell, so don't take too long, I say to her, trying to clear the depressing atmosphere I created by clearing my throat and changing the subject. Sure, be a few more minutes, Bella says as I leave her room. Walking downstairs I see Charlie is watching some TV that looks like a hockey game currently. Hearing my footsteps he turns around. Hey, Matt, want to watch the game with me while we wait for Bella? Charlie asks me while motioning me to take a seat on the couch with him. Sure, she said it should only be a few more minutes, I say while taking a seat next to him. Sure enough, about another 10 minutes or so Bella comes downstairs to tell us she is ready to go out. Charlie drove us to the old dinner we used to eat at when we were kids. After entering the dinner and getting our seats, Bella goes to use the bathroom. While in the bathroom the waitress comes to take our orders. I tell her my order and Charlie tells her his but is having trouble remembering what Bella used to love here, but told her what he believed it was. After Bella returned, Charlie tried his best to have small talk with her, to which she actually tried to return to him after giving me a side glance. After both ran out of small talk, I chuckled to myself internally before taking over the conversation and giving them both topics to talk about. Returning to the house, we see a red pickup truck, kinda rusty and beaten up in the driveway. Then another pickup truck that was white parked outside the house with two men inside it waiting for us, it seems, for they stepped out when Charlie parked his cruiser. I recognize them. The teenager is Jacob Black, who is helping his father Billy Black out of the truck and into his wheelchair. Seeing them, Charlie waves at them as we get out of the cruiser, and since I recognize them, I too wave now. Billy waves back at us and holds up a six-pack of beer, showing it off to Charlie. Billy, I'm glad you could make it. Thanks again for helping me out with finding a ride, Charlie says to them as Jacob wheels his dad towards us. It's no problem, Charlie. Well, hello you two, it's been too long since we saw you both. You remember us? Billy says to us while smiling warmly at us. Bella says while trying to remember who they are. Yeah, of course I remember you both. Nice to see you again, Billy and Jacob, I say to them, shaking both their hands in greeting. My memories in this body are that Jacob and I used to be best friends and did everything together before. Yeah, you should have kept in touch, Matt, Jacob says to me while giving me a brotherly hug instead of a handshake. Anyway, Bella, I bought the truck off Billy here and Jacob helped fix it up. This is yours now, just be safe is all I'm asking of you, Charlie says to Bella after handing the keys Billy gave him to the truck to her. No way. You really got this for me, Bella says in actual excitement. Yeah, I figured since you're 17 now and I can easily get your license transferred to this state, then you should have something to drive. Also, I did not forget you either, Matt. These keys are to the car your dad left for you when you were old enough. The car is parked at my station. Tomorrow after school we can pick it up, Charlie says to her and then hands me a set of keys. Bella, in a fit of happiness, gives Charlie a hug but then quickly breaks it out of embarrassment. I have no memory of what car my dad owned that he passed down to me, hopefully it is a cool one. Bella, I'm glad you're here too, probably don't remember me as much as Matt here. We did play together as kids also, made mud pies when we were real little, Jacob says to her while smiling and trying to jog her memory of him. From my other life memories, I know that Jacob here has a major crush on Bella, so it is kind of funny how she reacts to him. Yeah, I remember you guys, nice to see both again, Bella says, but I can tell she doesn't really remember them. Don't let him downplay it, Bella, he really missed you, after your dad told us you were coming back to live with him, that is all he talked about, Billy says while chuckling and making Jacob's face turn red in embarrassment. Let's get this man inside to watch the game, Charlie says, seeing the awkward atmosphere Billy created and wheeling him inside while he was holding the six-pack of beer and laughing at his son's embarrassment. Ignore my senile old man, he doesn't know what he is talking about. But I did work on this truck and brought it back to functionality, although it could use some touch-up work, Jacob says, trying to brush off what Billy said, and then he starts to show the truck to her. The rest of the day goes by fairly quickly as Charlie, Billy and I watch the baseball game, especially since both are drinking. Meanwhile, Jacob is pretending to watch it too but is trying his best to flirt and talk with Bella, who is just being her usual socially awkward self and eventually gets bored and leaves to her room to do whatever. After the game ends, Jacob takes a buzzed Billy home, saying goodbye to us. Excited and worried, trying to fall asleep, I start to think about what tomorrow is going to bring with the first meeting of the Cullens. Ch.3. Alice Cullen Pav. Last night I could not sit still and kept running around the house in excitement. Today is the day I am going to meet my mate, I can just feel it. I start rummaging through my clothes trying to find the perfect outfit to meet my mate in. First impressions are everything, and if I do not look my best, then I cannot meet him yet. Then I can hear my sisters come into my room. You okay, Alice? Rosalie asks me while I am throwing all my clothes around my room trying to find the perfect outfit. No, I can't seem to pick the best outfit for today, I say while pouting to her and Edive, who is also standing in the doorway watching me panic. What is happening today? Edive says to me with a confused look on her face. I am going to meet my mate today. I can just feel it, I say to them with pure excitement in my voice. Ah, yeah, that tracks, Edive says in a nonchalant manner. Calm down, Alice, we can help you pick out your outfit, Rosalie says, grabbing my shoulders to make me calm down slightly. Yes, thank you. Though I already tried those and they aren't good enough, I say to them, pointing at a pile of clothes in the corner of my room. They both sigh and nod while going through the remaining clothes to help me. Matt Pav. Waking up to my alarm clock blaring, I sigh. I did not get much sleep last night due to my excitement and fear about how today is going to go. I also have this gut feeling that something good is going to happen to me. Walking downstairs, I feel an awkward atmosphere and see Bella sitting at the table eating cereal with Charlie sitting next to her eating too, both in silence. Seeing me enter the kitchen, Charlie smiles at me and lifts his coffee cup in greeting, and Bella gives me a small nod like she was the one who drank all night and was hungover. So you both ready for your first day at a new school? Do not stress too much about it. Most of the kids around here are good kids, Charlie says to us while I sit and pour myself a bowl of cereal. Yeah, I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about today, I say while thinking about the interaction going to happen in an hour or so. My statement seemed to surprise Bella as she looked at me with a raised eyebrow. You are nervous about socially interacting? Bella says to me, surprised and smirking at the thought of me not being popular here, mostly likely from the evil smile on her face. In a way, yeah, I mean we are entering school after the year is halfway over. I cannot join any of the teams since they already made their picks, and who knows if I am far behind on my studies or not. I say to her, which is true. I was looking forward to maybe joining a sports team and worried that maybe I was behind in school with my mixed up memories now. Great, now I'm worried too. Thanks, Matt, Bella says to me in sarcasm. Well, like I said, try not to overthink it and I'm sure you're both going to do just fine, Charlie says, trying to cheer us up. After we were done eating and getting ready for the day, I hop into the passenger seat of Bella's truck since I do not have my car yet. The drive there was not bad but comfortable silence. Pulling into the parking lot, many people turned their heads at us, all looking in curiosity at who this is. Exiting the car, all eyes are on us, making Bella extremely nervous, so I kinda shield her from their view by blocking her with my body as we walked into the school. Thanks, Matt, Bella says in appreciation and in a small voice from nervousness. I just nod at her and smile. As we make our way to the entrance, a skinny Asian teenage boy steps toward us. Hello. I'm Eric. I'm the eyes and ear of this place. If you need a shoulder to cry on or a lunch date, I'm your guy, Eric says while directing it towards Bella, though this makes her even more nervous since she is not really that talkative. Hey Eric, nice to meet you. I'm Matt and this is Bella. Are you asking me out on my first day of school? Not that I care if you're gay, but unfortunately I'm only interested in women, I say to him, patting him on the shoulder and walking past him, making him get slightly embarrassed and Bella chuckle a bit as she follows behind me. Entering the school, we head towards the guidance office to get our schedule for the year. Luckily or unfortunately, I do not have any classes with Bella, so we go our separate way. The day goes by uneventfully until my class before lunch, as Emmett seems to be in my gym class. He is big in both height and muscle mass, slightly taller than me by a few inches, and much more muscular. I have more of a swimmer's body and he has more of a heavy lifter's body. The teacher made us pair up for a day of tennis and my partner was Emmett. Hey, I'm Emmett. You must be the new guy everyone is talking about, Emmett says to me while we walk towards our court to play. However, after he got close to me, I feel something inside me awaken, like a burning sensation took over my body. I can feel my body temperature rising to such a high level that it feels like steam is coming out of my ears like in the cartoons. It also feels like a beast is trying to break loose and defend itself from an apex predator invading its territory. My blood pressure has risen to insane levels that I can hear my heartbeat in my ears, but I try not to give away whatever is happening to me as I focus back on him. Not much of a talker, I see, Emmett says after the few moments of awkward silence I made from trying to get myself under control. Sorry, was just thinking about some things. I'm Matt, nice to meet you, Emmett, I say while panicking on the inside from trying to figure out what is happening to me. Luckily gym class did not last that long, and after fast walking away from Emmett and rushing into the bathroom to splash water on my face. After splashing water on my face, I look back into the mirror and see that my face is very red, like I have a fever. Telling myself to get a hold of myself internally. Then walking into the cafeteria, I see Bella sitting by herself for now at a table, so I go and sit next to her. Hey Matt. You look like crap, what happened? Bella asks me, seeing my appearance. Nothing, was just trying too hard in gym class, to show off, I say to her while sitting down. Which girl here, unfortunately, caught your attention? Bella asks me, smirking at my annoyed look. Very funny, I say to her, before she can anything else. The rest of her Soontobe high school friends show up. Hey Bella, who is this? Jessica says to Bella as she and Angela take a seat on the other side of Bella. This is my cousin Matt, he just started today too, Bella says to them introducing me. Oh, so you're the new guy Eric was complaining about. I'm Jessica and this is Angela, Jessica says to me with some flirtation looks at me. Oh, you're friends with Eric. This morning he tried to heighten Bella and this is our first day here so he should calm down and take a hint. Anyway, I messed with him which pissed him off it seems, I say with a shrug making Jessica laugh, the kind of fake laugh you make when you are interested in someone. Yeah, he was upset with you after meeting you this morning, Angela says while nodding to what I said. Bells. How is the rainy cold Forks compared to the sunny warm Phoenix? Mike says walking up to the table not noticing me and Eric right behind him. You know not as nice, Bella says in an awkward manner. Oh, who is this? Mike says noticing me now and has a suspicious look at me. I'm Matt her cousin, who also just moved here, I say to him, after hearing I am her cousin he seems to brighten up a bit. Great, another jackass teenager who just wants to get into her pants, I think to myself after seeing his reaction and remembering that Mike and Eric both fight over her affection. Then Jessica begins to gossip with Angela and Bella who is just listening. A few minutes later the moment finally came, and the Cullens entered the cafeteria. The first pair is Rosalie and Emmett. When Emmett sees me he waves getting the surprise of the others at the table, and I just wave back. Then next is Jasper and a woman I do not recognize from either memory. They are a couple obviously from the hand-holding. She is an average-sized woman, with a supernatural beauty like most vampires, and black hair that complements her very pale white skin. This makes me very confused as maybe I am in an alternate Twilight or maybe something else entirely. Maybe all of my information on this world is obsolete and mean nothing. Shit, if that is the case, what am I going to do now and what the fuck happened to me earlier? I think to myself and begin to internally panic. Next, Edward walks in with his usual sulky attitude present. Looking at Bella I can see she has caught his attention and he caught hers as they stare at each other before he breaks it to move to the table with the rest of his family. Then the two continue to stare at one another from across the cafeteria. Before Bella can ask who they are, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in both lives skips in right after Edward, Alice Cullen. She is like a small angel in my eyes. It's as if I can see nothing else except for her right now, like I have tunnel vision and all I can see is her. She also seems to be staring at me, but then a vision invades my mind and I can see a future with us together and eventually leading to a wedding, our wedding. Who are they? Bella asks no one in particular at the table, breaking me out of my vision and staring contest with Alice who is now sitting at the table with her family. She is not sitting still, seemingly bouncing up and down in joy while smiling at me and I cannot help but smile at her like an idiot in love. Ch.4. Alice Cullen Pav. Emmett sent me a text right before lunch saying to meet him by his locker before going to lunch. Curious, I decided to meet with him, humming to myself and skipping my way there since I am excited to meet my mate. This gets me a lot of stares, mostly ones weirded out by me, and I can hear many of them talking about me behind my back making fun of me. This would normally depress me, but the thought of meeting my mate keeps me happy. Arriving at Emmett's locker, he and Rosalie are standing there talking in hushed voices. Hey guys. I say to them while skipping up to them smiling, both turn to me and smile at my approach. However, the others around us are calling me a freak or weirdo as I make my way toward my family. Fucking bitches, Rosalie says in anger and loud enough for them to hear, and they all quickly leave towards the cafeteria. Hey Alice, I got some news for you, Emmett says while laughing at Rosalie for scaring the teenagers. Good news, I hope. Did you finally fix the dent you made in Rosalie's car the other day? I say to him, which makes his smile drop and fear on his face. Rosalie looks beyond pissed now. He did that. I thought you said some jerk hid it in the parking lot. Rosalie says to him while giving him a death stare. Sorry, I thought she knew, I say in embarrassment for ratting out Emmett. Yeah, it's not about that, but I believe I met your mate earlier, he says while trying not to look at Rosalie who is still staring at him in anger, but eases up when hearing he said that and now looks at me. I couldn't hold my excitement or happiness anymore, so jumped up for joy. What was he like? Is he as amazing as I bet he is? I say to him beyond excited. Wow, calm down first, yeah, and I guess he is coolish, well compared to most people he seems chill. Though he was kinda awkward when we first met, he ignored me and just stared at me like he was about to attack me. Gave me a feeling that a beast was gonna eat me, like that time I almost got eaten by a bear, Emmett says with a shrug. That's cool. Maybe his vampire power is going to be shapeshifting or super strength like you, I say to them while imagining it, my shirtless knight in shining diamond skin with fluttering hair in the wind, and saving me from all our enemies. I tell them I need to use the bathroom to check my appearance, making sure I look as good as possible since I most likely will run into him at the cafeteria since all the students will be there. Entering the bathroom, I do some last touch-ups and the girls in the bathroom smirk at me and start making fun of me quietly. Ignoring them, I head to the cafeteria. I see Edward ahead of me and I skip in behind. Walking in, I look around the room and then make eye contact with the most handsome man I have ever seen. I can feel myself being drawn into his eyes. I quickly lose myself in his eyes. Then I see another vision, one where we are holding hands, kissing, then it leads to our wedding. After the vision ends, I quickly make my way to the table with my family. I can't sit still as I am thinking about him and then our eventual wedding. They are humans like I thought. We cannot turn them into one us. They do not deserve this punishment, Edward says while trying to not look at his mate. I do not care if you want to abandon your mate like an idiot, but I will not leave mine after finally meeting him. I say to Edward with anger in my voice for trying to convince us to leave them. Do whatever you want, Alice, but if you tell them about us before turning them, then you could bring the whole Volturi on us, Edward says while giving me an annoyed look. Calm down, you two and brother. She finally found her happiness, and so did you, so stop being an idiot like she said. Plus we have to tell Carlisle first and go from there, Edith says to them while trying to soothe the heated argument forming. Then here we Jessica telling them about us. What she says is pissing all my siblings off and what she says about me depresses me, because what if my mate now hates me? Ignore that dumb jealous bitch, your mate won't think any different of you, Rosalie says to me, seeing that I look like on the verge of crying if I could cry. Your mate may just kill her. I have never felt someone so angry before, Jasper says, surprised, looking over at their table. We can all hear how angry she made my mate and then he quickly leaves the cafeteria. Matt Pav. Who are they? Bella asks. No one in particular at the table, breaking me out of my vision and staring contest with Alice, who is now sitting at the table with her family. She is not sitting still, seemingly bouncing up and down in joy while smiling at me, and I cannot help but smile at her like an idiot in love. They are the Cullens, the adopted kids of Dr. Carlisle Cullen. They are also together, like dating together. It's fucking weird, Jessica says while looking at them with jealousy. I mean, it's not that weird. They are not blood related, Angela says to Jessica in between listening and eating her lunch. Whatever. Anyway, the blonde and the muscled man are Rosalie and Emmett, they are together. The one who always looks like he is in pain is Jasper and the black-haired girl is Edith, and they are a thing. The handsome loner or prince as some call him is Edward, but don't get your hopes up, he has denied anyone and probably thinks he is too good for anyone here. Finally, the last one is the weirdest of the bunch, Alice. She skips everywhere like she is in a fairy tale and is just a freak in general, Jessica says to Bella as we are still staring at our mates, though the last bit pisses me off. The fuck did you call her? I say angrily and with a deep guttural growl at the end. Having the feeling of jumping over the table to attack her. I quickly do my best to suppress it. The amount of anger that I felt surprised me. Making everyone at the table, even Bella, jump in fear and look at me like a psychopath. Quote. I have to use the bathroom, I say after some awkward silence at what just happened. Running into the bathroom and sitting in a stall, I think to myself. I have never felt this level of anger in either life before, though now I know Alice is my mate, thinking about what just happened. However, why are my emotions all over the place? I almost attacked her like I was in some blood rage. These heightened emotions are fucking with me. I think, hoping to regain control of myself. Then I hear the bells going off signifying that lunch is over. Grabbing my bag, I head to my next class. My next two classes are unimportant and nothing interesting happens in them. Luckily none of Bella's friends were in my classes either. Then my last class comes, an elective I had to take, which was art. In this class, sitting in the back by an empty chair is Alice, who upon seeing me stiffens up and just stares at me. Pushing down all my different overwhelming emotions, I sit down next to her. Hey, I'm Matt. Unnice to me, you, I say while practically stuttering it out in nervousness. What the hell, get your shit together, you idiot, I tell myself while still holding my hand out to her in greeting and smiling. Hi Matt. I'm Alice. Nice to meet you too. Alice says to me, giggling at my nervousness and shaking my hand. At shaking my hand, a zap of electricity goes through us, making us both jump slightly at it. Then the rest of class, she kept talking to me about all the art she likes and how she loves painting. I could not pay attention to anything that happened in that class as I was too distracted just staring at Alice. So Matt, want to be my partner for the big art project we have to do? Alice asks me, catching me off guard. Oh, what? Partner? For what? I say, confused and hearing the bell telling everyone that school is over. The air project that is due by the end of the year. No one wanted to be my partner, and since we have an odd number of students until you joined, I was going to do it by myself, but now you're here, so want to be my partner? Alice says to me, looking at me with puppy-like eyes. Definitely. I say immediately, wanting to spend as much time with you as I can. Awesome. Then here is my number, that way we can keep in touch about the project, Alice says, handing me a piece of paper and then skipping out of class. Just stunned by what happened and watching her leave, I'm just staring at her ass in the tight jeans, still holding the paper in shock. Shaking the horny thoughts from my head, I look down at the paper. Fuck yes. I got her number. I say somewhat loud to myself in the empty classroom, but then hear her giggle come from the hallway, making my face extremely red. Walking out of the classroom, she is not there anymore, so maybe I was just hearing things. Going outside to Bella's truck, I see her waiting inside the truck with her head on the steering wheel. Bella, what's wrong? Did someone do some stupid shit to you? I ask her, my anger resurfacing. Do I smell bad? She asks me while lifting her head up to look at me. Taking a sniff as I get in the truck. Yeah, what the hell, Bella, did you shit yourself in the truck? I say to her in fake surprise. What? I do. Wait, fuck you, Matt. Bella says to me in agitation. Nah, you don't smell, Bella. Why? Did some asshole you reject tell you, you smell or something? Who is it? I will have a one-on-one talk with them, I say, giving her a smile and suggesting I will beat their ass. No, nothing like that, don't worry about it, Bella says, starting up the truck and then looking over somewhere one last time before driving home. Looking where she just looked, I see the Cullens and I make eye contact with Alice, who smiles and waves at me. I return the wave and smile back. On the way home, I remembered that she thinks she smells because of Edward. Alice Cullen Pav. So you are even more excitable than usual. What happened? I am assuming it has to do with your mate. Edith says to me as they watch me wave at Matt. Yes. We talked all class long, then he agreed to become my art project partner, and finally, I gave him my number. I say to them, jumping with happiness. That's great. You did better than this idiot at least, Edith says while pointing at Edward, who is sulking in the car waiting to leave. Can we leave already? I need to talk to Carlisle about some things, Edward says with annoyance. Sure thing, my prince, Emmett says, giving a fake bow to him. We all chuckle as we enter the car and head home with an even more sulking Edward. Ch.5. Matt Pav. On our way home, I almost forgot that I needed to meet Charlie at his station to get my car. So I asked Bella to drop me off there first. The station was your standard small-town police station. A one-story building with only one entrance at the front, another in the back most likely, about 50 feet long and 30 feet wide. Several police cars were parked outside and a chain-link fence was in the back. Walking inside, I can see that the holding cells are to the left with some drunk men it looked like currently in them, and the right is where the deputies work, and Charlie's office is in the back behind their room. However, there is a young woman who is a deputy at the front desk by the entrance looking at me. How can I help you, sir? She asks me after I walked in. I am here to see my uncle Charlie. He is the chief, I say to her, which seems to have surprised her. Sure sir, let me go grab the chief. Wait here please, she says while walking towards his office. Knocking on the door, seconds later enters it. Less than a minute goes by and Charlie comes out of the office with her behind him. He looks concerned. Matt, why are you here? Did something happen? Is Bella okay? He asks me quickly while walking towards me. Yeah, she is fine and no, nothing happened. You said today we could get the car my dad left for me, I say to him, smiling and dangling the keys in my hand. Oh yeah. Sorry Matt, it's just been a long day, I kinda forgot about that. Follow me, it's in the back, Charlie says to me while sighing and chuckling that he forgot what he told me yesterday. You okay, Uncle Charlie? You seemed stressed coming out of your office, I say to him while following him outside to the back of the station. Yeah, don't worry about it, just been dealing with the usual drunk idiots. I just forgot I told you to come here since I figured you or Bella would never come here unless something bad happened, he says to me while rubbing the back of his head. True, Bella wouldn't want to come here unless forced to. Though I don't mind visiting you once in a while, I say to him with a smile. Sure Matt, you can visit whenever you want, I just hope that is not because you were forced to, he says while chuckling at me with a smile. Walking outside, I see that only one car was parked in the fenced-off area and it was covered. He brings me to the covered car and motions for me to take the cover off and check it. Taking the cover off, I can see that it appears to be a 1970 model Dodge Challenger, with a black exterior and red leather seats. It also appears to be in mint condition. I was shocked since I was a huge fan of Dodge Challengers in my other life and was extremely happy for having a beauty like this mine now. Your father loved this car, maybe even more than your mother, but not you, Charlie says to me, chuckling at my reaction to it. He only drove it on special occasions, according to him, and restored it when he bought it. I kept it covered here since, though according to Billy I had to take it on a drive once in a while to keep it from falling apart from unuse. Although it is in practically perfect condition otherwise, Charlie says to me as I enter it and begin to inspect it. Thanks for keeping it in such good condition, Uncle Charlie, I say to him, giving him a hug, which he returns. Well, drive home safe now and don't make any of my deputies pull you over for speeding now that you have a race car, Charlie says to me, smiling as I start the car, hearing the loud rumble of the V8 engine. Sure thing, I say, driving off back home, putting the windows down, and enjoying the beauty of driving this car through nature like this. Later that night I woke up at midnight in a cold sweat and my bed sheet were covered in sweat, looking like someone sprayed the bed with a hose. Feeling like I was on fire and then dipped in the Arctic Ocean, I stumbled my way to the mirror in my room. Looking at it, I see my eyes keep fluctuating between my normal blue-greenish eyes and a crystal blue that glows slightly. Then I feel something inside of me like a beast wanting to get loose starts making all my muscles cramp up. The pain overwhelmed me and I almost screamed but held it in. What is this pain? I scream internally. Wait, the wolves. Am I turning like them? I think to myself, and not wanting to freak out my family, I stumble my way outside, only wearing the sweatpants I slept in. Finally stumbling my way outside, I fall to the ground as the pain starts increasing. I can't turn yet. I scream to myself, pushing myself off the ground and rushing further into the woods. Though I am sure it looks like I'm stumbling running. After making it about a mile, 1.6 kilometers, away from my house, I can't take the pain anymore as I fall to my knees and let out a blood-curdling scream. Then I black out from the pain. Waking up just as the sun is starting to come up, I find myself somewhere in the woods and next to a bloody carcass of a moose that was torn apart by a beast. The smell of it makes me vomit, and looking at my vomit, it has nothing but raw flesh, blood, and animal guts in it. This makes me keep vomiting until I have nothing left in me. What the fuck happened last night? What the fuck am I? I think to myself after getting a hold of myself. Looking down, I realize I'm as naked as the day I was born and covered in blood. Shit. What time is it? I need to get home and shower before they notice I'm missing, I think, while trying to figure out how to find my way home. Then I recognize the scent of Bella and Charlie in the distance. Well, that's new, I think, and realize that all of my senses have been increased to insane levels. I begin to run home but then quickly stop as I have just run more than a few hundred feet in seconds. He is basically 3 times as strong as a newborn vampire in all aspects, in his base human form, will explain in more detail when he finds out more about what he is. Trying my best to quickly learn to control my new abilities, I rush my way home. Turns out I was about 20-ish miles, 32 kilometers, away from them. I covered this distance in just under 10 minutes. Luckily I can hear Bella and Charlie have just woken up. I jump from the ground to the window by my room and open it, entering my room and hear my alarm clock going off. Knocking. Matt. Wake up already. Your alarm clock has been going off for like 10 minutes now. I hear Bella say as she is pounding on my door. Sorry, Bella. I'm up now, I say, quickly turning my alarm clock off, but end up smashing it and breaking it through the night table, smashing that in the process. Matt, what was that? Are you okay? Bella says, hearing all my things breaking. Yeah, just tripped and fell, I'll be out in a few, I say, trying to quickly hide the evidence. Okay. Well, since you got your car, I'm just gonna head out before you then, Bella says while walking away from my door. Yeah, sure, see you at school, I say, and then hearing no one in the hall and both are in the kitchen, I rush to the bathroom and close the door extremely gently to not break it. After getting out of the shower, I noticed that everything now seems shorter or smaller. Going back into my room after the shower and looking in my mirror to see what changed. First, I'm jacked as hell, like all I do is work out in the gym all day every day, jacked. Then my height seems to have gone from 6 feet 3 inches, 190 centimeters, to 6 feet 8, 203 centimeters. What the fuck, I grew 5 inches in a night. How the fuck am I going to explain that, let alone now I look like a bodybuilder, I think to myself. Finally, I notice my eyes are a clear crystal blue instead of the blue-greenish they were before. Luckily they are not glowing like they did last night. Well, that will be easier to explain at least. I think as I put on the baggiest clothes I have to not show how much more muscle I have now. Gonna have to buy more clothes. I think as the baggiest clothes I have is still somewhat tight on me and short. In a few weeks, I can dress normally and again to play off that I have been working out more. Though the height, I'm just gonna have to hope people don't think too much about it and that a crazy growth spurt is all that happened. Hopefully, I don't grow anymore either. Don't want to be a freakish giant, even though I kinda entered that area already. I sigh to myself thinking about all the questions that are gonna be asked. Even though I'm hungry as hell since I threw up all that shit this morning, I rush past Charlie who is finishing up in the kitchen. I don't want him to start questioning me right now, especially since I have to figure out what the hell I am now. Matt, don't you want to eat real quick? Why the rush? Have a good day, Charlie says to me as I rush past him outside to my car. I just wave goodbye at him from outside as I get in my car starting it. Driving my way to school, I start to get all my thoughts together and try to come up with explanations. Hopefully, people don't ask too many. Oh fuck. What is Alice gonna think? I say out loud to myself as I'm driving. Ch.6. Matt Pav. Pulling into school, I park next to Bella who is still in her car and looks like she is giving herself a pep talk. Bella, you good? I say to her, walking up to her and knocking on her truck's window. She jumps at my approach, not expecting it. Jesus Matt, you scared me. And yeah, I'm fine. Wait, why do you look different? Holy shit, you grew taller and buffer. Bella says to me while looking at me after getting out of her truck. Yes, I had a crazy growth spurt last night. I did wake up in the middle of the night sweating, I say, trying to play it off. She just stares at me for a solid minute. Quote. Sure, whatever you say. Are you doing steroids? Bella says as we start walking into the school, not really believing me. No, I'm not that stupid, I say to her in annoyance. Whatever, just be safe, she says to me, still not believing me. I just roll my eyes at her, but I do notice a lot of people are staring at me though. Once again I went through school and nothing interesting happened until my gym class with Emmett. Luckily it seems teenagers don't really care all that much about my drastic change, just stare a bit and move on with their lives. The teachers seem just uncaring as the students, looking at me funny for a minute and then just start class. Entering the gym I am immediately hit with the bow of sweaty hormonal teenagers and the stale air. Then another smell cuts through the crowd, a rotten food-like smell, like meat that has been left out for weeks. I realize that it is coming from Emmett. Emmett Cullen Pav. Sitting in gym class and ignoring the lustful looks from some teenagers and jealous looks from others, a smell hits me that I haven't smelled in a long time. It brings back the memories of the time a bear mauled me. Since then I've avoided bears as they bring back some painful memories. Carlisle calls it PTSD. The bear-like smell is coming from Alice's mate Matt, and holy shit, did he change. He's taller than me now and I'm considered tall, and he seems a hell of a lot more buff, even though it seems he's trying to hide that. As a man who takes pride in buffness, I can tell when another buff man is in the room even if they are being modest. Seeing me he tenses up but relaxes a bit when I wave at him and approaches me. Hey Matt. Boy, did you change overnight. Got some secret juju that you want to share with me? I say to him in a joking manner, though he tenses up a bit at that. Yeah, went through a crazy growth spurt it seems, he says, laughing slightly and rubbing the back of his head. After going through the class with him and not poking too much at what changed in him, as I don't really care, plus if he's gonna be family soon he can share if he wants to. Though Alice pestered me to ask him to join us at lunch, so I'll ask him. I just hope he doesn't question why none of us eat. Hey Matt, want to sit with me and my family for lunch? I ask him as we head out of gym class. I can see the surprise on his face and then happiness. Definitely, he says excitedly. Cool, we gotta go to my locker first. Rosalie and I usually meet there to head to the cafeteria together, I say to him. Yeah, sure, lead the way, he says to me, while deep in thought about something, most likely Alice. Young love. Damn, Alice and he will get along really well. I'm happy my little sister found her mate, I think to myself as we head to my locker first to grab Rosalie and Alice. Matt Pav. Thankfully Emmett didn't ask too many questions. He is a really cool guy and we share a lot of the same interests, would like to hang out with him more. I am excited to share lunch with them, though I know it's gonna make Bella jealous. At the same time, I'm nervous as hell because what if they realize I'm not human anymore, or Edward reads my mind and sees I know the future in a way. Shit, This was a bad idea, I think to myself, but I already committed and another part of me just wants to be with Alice 24/7. Arriving at Emmett's locker, Rosalie and Alice are there waiting and talking about me. Calm down, Alice, I know he is your mate, but if you come on too strong you could freak him out, Rosalie says to Alice, who seems to be pouting at her. I'm trying, Rosie, but you know I sometimes can't hold in my excitement or happiness. You see how hot he is, I just want to be held in his arms while we cuddle. Like you and Emmett, Alice says to her while smiling at the thought, it seems. Hearing this, my face gets red from embarrassment as I too would love to just hold her. Damn, I like her the way she is, if she wants to jump on me then I'm all for it. Don't take my happiness from me, Rosalie. I shout to myself. Breaking me from my thoughts of cuddling with Alice and then taking things to the next level. I hear Emmett say hello to them as we are walking over, kinda pissed me off since I was taken from my horny thoughts. Should I guess turning also makes my hormones go crazy too? I mean, yeah, I've had horny thoughts like anyone else, but this is like every time I see Alice or think about her, I think to myself and shaking the horniness out of my mind. Matt, long time no see. How've you been? Alice says, ignoring Emmett and walking past him. He gives her a hurt look like, what about me? Rosalie, seeing this, chuckles and pats his shoulder in conciliation. Hey Alice, yeah, been a while, huh? I've been good, how about you? I say to her, chuckling and losing myself in her eyes again. Though I notice Rosalie sees that I look different than yesterday but doesn't say anything. Yeah, feels like years since we last saw each other. Alice says sarcastically and jumps up and down in excitement. I just laugh at her, enjoy seeing her happy. They're both crazy, that's good. Means they will get along just fine, Rosalie says while smirking at our interaction, and Emmett laughs. Alice, at hearing her, turns to Rosalie and Emmett, sticking her tongue out at them. We begin walking to lunch with Emmett and Rosalie lagging behind a knit to give us space. Alice, being the talkative pixie she is, begins telling me all about the art she has been working on since yesterday. Once again I'm blind to my surroundings as I lose myself to her presence. Entering the cafeteria, everyone is now staring at us since I'm walking with the Cullens to their table where the rest of their family is, though Edward is missing. Alice is just skipping happily next to me as we walk over with the brightest smile on her face. Hey guys, this is Matt. He's my partner in art class and my friend. Alice introduces me to her family. As Rosalie and Emmett take their respective seats. Hello Matt, I'm Edith and this is Jasper, Edith says to me, and Jasper gives me a small nod since all the teenage mixed emotions are messing with him. Nice to meet you both, where is your brother? I ask them, even though knowing he left for a bit to avoid Bella. He went to visit some family in Alaska, Rosalie says to me, giving the excuse, to which I just nod. During the first half of lunch, I noticed Bella is just staring at me in shock, then annoyed seeing me with the Cullens. Thinking that I know Alice is my mate and I have an extreme attraction to her. That she also feels the same way, I decide to ask her out since I know she will say yes. They only go to school on cloudy days to avoid the sun, in case you didn't know. Alice want to take a walk outside before lunch is over. I ask her after talking with her family for a bit and getting to know them. Yeah, let's go, Alice says to me, jumping up immediately and skipping to the door leading outside. The others laugh at her reaction and I chuckle following her. After walking for some distance away from people and finding a secluded spot outside, we sit down on a bench. I start to say, but I'm trying to think how to start, but I'm getting nervous. Meanwhile, she is looking at me in curiosity and confusion about what I was trying to say. Come on man, get yourself together. We know she likes you as much as her, so just ask her already, you bitch. I tell myself, trying to pep talk myself. Sorry, I wanted to ask you was, did you maybe want to go out for a date? Like a movie or something? I know this is kinda sudden and we barely know each other, but I feel this connection between us, I say to her while clearing my throat in the beginning and now looking at her nervously. She is just staring at me in shock, but then pure joy and excitement show on her face a second later. Yes. Definitely yes. She practically screams, catching some people's attention that are somewhat nearby. Noticing her, they give her annoyed looks and I can hear them calling her a freak. Hearing them, she looks down, embarrassed and sad hearing them, probably thinking I'll change my mind. Instinctually I give them all angry looks and then put my hand on her chin, making her look at me. Looking at me, she is just staring at me and I lose myself in her eye again. We start to lean in close to one another, about to kiss, but then the bell goes off, breaking us out of our stupor. With a red face, I would assume if she was not a vampire, she jumps up. We should head back into our next class. See you in art, Alice says, skipping away happily. The next 2 classes go by forever it feels like. I just want to get to art class and spend time with Alice. Then it finally comes and we just sit in the back talking about all our dislikes and likes. She wanted to see a movie so tomorrow we are going to see one. Heading outside people seem to be all making fun of Alice, from her even more happy behavior being next to me, although this annoys me deeply I ignore it for now. Waving goodbye to her as we each head to our separate cars to head home, each is excited for our date tomorrow night. I see Bella looking at me next to my car seemingly wanting to talk. So Matt, since when did you become so close with the Cullens? Also, where was their brother Edward? Bella asks me as I walk over to our cars. Well, for starters I have a class with Emmett and he's a cool guy so I think we could become friends and so far it seems we are. Their brother though is visiting family in Alaska they said. Also, I asked out Alice and we have a date tomorrow so yeah there is that too. I say to Bella making her look at me in shock and then stares at the Cullens who have obviously heard what I said. Not letting her say anything else I get in my car starting it and wave at the Cullens as I head home. Alice jumped up and down smiling and waved back at me, with the others smiling at her and giving me a wave too. Bella quickly gets in her truck to head home and berate me with more questions I'm sure. Ch.7. Matt Pav. After getting home before Bella and her arriving about 5 minutes later she tried to berate me with a bunch of questions but I just ignored her until she gave up. Giving me an annoyed grunt and slamming her door to her room in frustration, while I just sat on the couch watching TV. The rest of the day went as normal, though Bella was giving me a cold shoulder in spite which made me chuckle only to get an annoyed look back from her. So, did I miss something? Charlie says after seeing the cold reaction between Bella and me while we were eating dinner. Nothing much, I just annoyed Bella by not answering her annoying questions about who I was hanging out with at school, so now she's ignoring me like she did when we were kids, I say while smirking at her, with her giving me a hard stare. I see, well, Bella he is allowed to have some privacy in his life, Uncle Charlie says to her getting an even more aggravated look from her. Whatever, Bella huffs grabbing her plate and putting it in the sink to storm off upstairs and slamming her door shut. So, like I said you are entitled to your privacy, but I'm curious as to who you are hanging out with that made Bella this angry. No one bad I hope. Uncle Charlie says to me after a moment of silence after Bella stormed off. She is jealous because she has a crush on Edward Cullen and he's been ignoring her for the past couple of days. Plus I have become friends with Emmett Cullen and just asked out Alice Cullen on a date which I have tomorrow night, I say to him while shrugging and eating my dinner. Quote. Cullens. Oh, Dr. Carlisle's kids. They are a nice family, though they moved here a year back, Charlie says after thinking about what he knows about them. Wait. Bella has a crush on one of his boys. Well if they do start dating let me know, I just want to have a talk with him, Charlie says to me while giving a small evil smile at the word talk. Sure thing, I say to him while chuckling. You said you asked out one of the girls. Well, you're a good kid, but 2 things: 1 always be a gentleman, that's the way to a lady's heart, and use protection. I don't want to be a granduncle in my 40s, Charlie says to me smirking and making me choke on my food at the protection part since it did not seem like something he would say. Jesus. Uncle Charlie, we haven't even gone on our first date yet, I say to him while hitting my chest trying to fix the coughing fit I had from choking. I mean didn't take too long for your parents to go from dating to you, he says shrugging and thinking about the past. However, his statement had me choking again and getting another coughing fit. Way too much information, I say getting a hold of myself and putting my dishes in the sink to wash them. He just laughs at me as I roll my eyes leaving for my room. All I'm saying is I know what teenage boys are like. I was one too once. Charlie says to me as I'm walking up the stairs to my room, all he gets is a sigh from me. Later that night around midnight again I woke myself up. Leaving through my window and jumping down to the ground, I then run into the woods. After running for a while towards a lake in the distance and making sure I do not smell any vampires, werewolves, or humans nearby, smelling nothing other than the usual animals I take off all my clothes. Once naked I turn towards the instinctual feeling inside me that is like a quiet ball of fury and once I tap into it, it grows until it explodes making me transform. The pain from the first transformation was the worst and the pain I'm feeling now is nowhere near as bad. Though it still feels like someone is tearing all my muscles and reforming them, the same with my bones, they are breaking and then reforming too. The whole transformation feels like hours, but in reality, only takes maybe 2 minutes. Standing on my 2 legs I feel immense power like I could lift mountains and run infinitely. Letting out a roar from this overpowering feeling of invisibility. All animals within my range of smell and hearing, which seems to be a few hundred miles, roughly around 300 miles or 500 kilometers, run away or cower in fear hearing me. He sounds like the bear roar mixed with Godzilla. It seems my sense has tripled compared to my already crazy human ones. Even in the darkness of night, I can see just as well as in daytime. Kinda like an owl, but even better with his enhanced senses. Standing next to the tree I believe to be maybe 100 feet or so tall, I can roughly guess my height is around 15 feet 457 centimeters. I must be just over a ton, roughly 2,500 pounds or 1150 kilograms, since every step I take leaves a very deep imprint. My feet look like a humanism bear mixed print and my hands are like a bear, but I luckily still have an opposable thumb. Walking to the water to see my appearance, it would appear that I'm a white werebear looking being and I have all these blue slightly glowing runes littering my body. I would seem I'm like a giant polar bear, with Viking-like runes on my body. I say to myself out loud, surprising me I can speak in a very guttural-like voice. I sound like two stones grinding on each other, but at least I can speak. Testing everything I can before the daytime comes. I find that I do not know my limit for my strength, as I lifted everything I could find. The only thing that required my 2 hands and some strain was pulling the 100 or so feet tree out of the ground, roots and all. My reflexes have increased as well and I am just as flexible in this form as my human one. Though the only downside is I'm half as fast in this form compared to my human one, making me feel this form is more for tanking damage and dealing damage compared to my human form. After all these tests I can see the sun is starting to come up, though since it's a Saturday Bella will most likely sleep in and Charlie should too. Focusing on myself I suppress that ball of fury inside myself, but am now noticing there is a ball of coldness next to the ball of fury, like all my cold emotions are kept there. Later, deal with it later, I think to myself after transforming back to my human form and getting dressed before running back home. Third person POV. While the Cullens were all relaxing in their home and each passing the night in their own way. Carlisle and Esme by reading and relaxing near each other in Carlisle's private study. Edith and Jasper work together to help Jasper get better control of his urges and empathic powers. Rosalie and Emmett are in the garage while Rosalie supervises Emmett while he fixes the car he dented as punishment under her supervision. Alice is in her room painting while humming, one depicting her and Matt together in a field of flowers lying under the shade of a tree and enjoying each other's company. Then they hear a sound never heard before, one from a beast that seems to be announcing its presence to the world and saying this is its turf. Each immediately stop what they were doing and all rush to the living room to discuss what that was. Carlisle, what the hell was that? Rosalie says to him as they all enter the room at the same time since he was the coven leader and oldest out of all of them. I'm not sure. I've never heard anything like that before. It couldn't be the Quileute, as the wolves have never sounded like that, Carlisle says after searching his memories for anything like this before. So what are we going to do? Should we find out what it was? Edith says to him while stressed about the situation. No, that is not a good idea. We need to contact the Quileute and see if maybe they know more. If they do not and we hear it again, then we will investigate it ourselves carefully, Carlisle says to them, trying to think of the best solution for this situation. Knowing that the wolves have heard it too. Carlisle then sends an email to Billy Black asking to meet and discuss what they heard last night. Billy responds a few minutes later saying to come and discuss it with their pack leader at the border. Meanwhile, the Quileute tribe were each sleeping in their homes. The current wolves are only Sam, their leader, Paul, and Jared. It was Paul's turn to patrol their territory, and as he was lying down in his wolf form relaxing waiting for the night to end, he heard a bestial roar making all his hair stand up and telling him that an apex predator is claiming this land as its own. His first instinct was to run and hide from this beast that may come and kill anything that poses a threat to its dominance, but he suppressed that feeling, running to get the others. Running back to the tribe as fast as he could, he ran into Jared who was running toward him. Paul, did you hear that crazy roar? Sam told me to get you and come back to his house, we have to talk. Jared says to Paul, stopping in front of him, as the two run into each other. Yeah, what the fuck was that roar? Paul says to Jared as they start to run toward Sam's house. No idea, but maybe Sam knows more. Jared says as they make the rest of the way in silence and fear at the unknown. For those that don't know, wolves of the Quileute tribe can speak to one another in their minds, they are all linked in a way. It never specified how far from each other they can talk to, but I'm just going to assume it's within normal speaking range, as if someone was talking to you in person. Arriving at Sam's house, they see Sam waiting outside talking to Billy Black about the roar they just heard. Good, you're both here. I'm assuming you heard that roar. Sam says to them as they turn back to human forms, and Sam throws them each a pair of shorts to put on. Yeah, what the fuck was that? Jared says to Sam and Billy, as Paul nods in agreement. We have no idea what that was, but whatever it was seemed to want to announce its presence. Though what that means, all we can hope is it is not an enemy, Sam says as Billy nods in agreement. I got an email from Alice Cullen. He wants to meet up and talk about that roar. Go meet them at our border and see what they know, Billy says to them. They all nod and quickly undress and turn into their wolf forms, running in the direction of the meeting. Sam carrying shorts in his mouth since he will transform back when meeting them. Arriving at the meeting place, both the Cullen family and the Quileute wolf pack meet at the stream, which makes a natural border between their territories. Sam turned back into his human form in the woods before walking to the edge of the stream to talk with the Cullens as Jared and Paul sit behind him in their wolf forms. Do the Quileute know anything about that beast that roared? Carlisle asks Sam when he approaches the edge of the stream. No, we don't. We were going to ask you if you, vampires, had any knowledge of it, Sam says to them, but with disgust at the word vampires and getting glares from Rosalie and Eddie that the obvious dislike for them. That is not good. I can try doing more research about shapeshifters or supernatural beasts and see what comes up. Or we can send some of our people to investigate it now, though I would rather research it first to get an idea of what we are dealing with, Carlisle says to Sam, ignoring his attitude. How can we know you will share all that you learn from this research of yours? Plus, from the sound of it, it is on our side of the territory, Sam says to him, narrowing his eyes at him in distrust. I have never broken an agreement I made with your people since the time it was made. Plus, this concerns us both, so I will share what I learn with you. You have my word, Carlisle says to him, trying to give him a warm smile, only for Sam to frown at him for smiling. Fine, do your research, Sam says to him while turning around to leave the meeting. I will email anything I find to Billy. Carlisle shouts to Sam as he turns away to run back to his village. Ch.8. Matt Pav. Getting back home, I got ready for the day, and by the time Bella and Charlie woke up I was done with my routine. Bella was still giving me the cold shoulder, which I just laughed off again, making her more annoyed at me once again. Charlie just laughed at our still childlike interaction with one another. Since it's a Saturday and I have a lot of time to burn before the date, I decided to hang out with Jacob since we used to all the time as kids. Hey Jacob, I'm gonna come over to hang out since we haven't in forever, I text him. Cool. Does Bella want to come too? He texts me back and I chuckle at how he wants to be with her so badly. Bella. I know you are still mad at me but want to come with me and hang out with Jacob. I ask her knowing she is gonna ignore me or say no, but now he can't claim I didn't ask. No. Is all Bella says to me from the kitchen. She said no, sorry to disappoint you with just my presence, I text Jacob teasing him as I get into my car to drive over. What's that supposed to mean? He texts me back, which I just snort to myself and ignore. I start driving over. With my windows down as I drive, I enter the village of the Quileute tribe. As I enter it, I can smell a lot of wolf piss. Damn, they sure do mark their territory a lot, I think, trying not to vomit from the overwhelming smell of wolf piss. Pulling up to the Blacks' house, I see Billy sitting outside on their porch and smoking a pipe while enjoying nature. Seeing me, he smiles and waves at me. Parking next to Billy's truck, I step out and wave back to him. Hey Billy, how've you been? I ask him walking up to their house. I've been fine. Though, what about you? You sure grew since I last saw you, he says to me while eyeing me up and down. Yeah, had a crazy growth spurt, I say to him. Must have been one hell of a growth spurt, he says to me while giving me a suspicious look. Luckily Jacob came outside before he could ask any more questions. Matt, what's up? Jacob says to me, giving me a bro hug. You know the usual, I say, still trying to ignore Billy staring at me. Damn, you grew, you're fucking huge. Jacob says, now noticing my height. Yeah, he went through a crazy growth spurt, Billy says now with an indifferent look on his face, puffing on his pipe. Must have been a really crazy one, Jacob says to us while motioning for me to follow him. Go have fun you two, but nothing stupid. Billy says as we walk away. Sure thing Billy, I say as we leave. You sure you're alright? I noticed your hands were cold as ice when we met up, he says to me after we walked away from his house further into the village. Shit. I didn't even notice that my temperature might be different, though cold as ice. The wolves were known for being like space heaters, I think to myself. Yeah, I'm fine. Must be because I was driving with the windows down, so the air must have made them cold, I say, trying to come up with a quick excuse. He just nods since it was plausible enough. Oh, okay. Well, we are meeting up with Embry, Quill, and Leah. Then we were going to go swimming at the falls, Jacob says to me as we are walking. After walking through the village, many of the people there wave to us and greet us as we make our way to Leah's house now that I'm starting to remember my way around the village. Arriving outside Leah's house, I can see them all outside. Though Embry and Quill are arguing over who can do the most push-ups, probably trying to impress Leah, who is just rolling her eyes at them. Leah, seeing us, smiles at me and waves to us. Hey guys. Damn Matt, you sure grew up since we were kids, Leah says to me as we walk up to them. If I was not Alice's mate, I would have definitely tried to get with Leah since she grew into a damn fine young woman. Yeah, looks like some of us though didn't grow up mentally, I say, chuckling at Embry and Quill, who are standing up now to greet us. You're not wrong, Leah says to me, laughing at my jab toward Embry and Quill, who don't seem to know I was taking a jab at them. Yeah Matt, it's good to see you again, Embry says to me. It's been too long since you've been here, thought we wouldn't meet again, Quill says to me, patting my shoulder, though having to use his tippy toes to reach it. After spending the day with them at the lake and catching up with all of them, they each give me their cell numbers to keep in touch. Now that is it late afternoon, I head home saying goodbye to Billy on my way out of the village. Getting home, I see Charlie in the living room watching TV and Bella seems to be in her room reading or studying. The lake is huge, a few miles from the village, and he did all he Werebear testing on the other side of the lake. Welcome back Matt, how were Billy and Jacob? Charlie asks me, seeing me come inside. You know, the same as usual, I say to him, getting a nod at my response. Burning the time by googling about werebears and other supernatural creatures to see what comes up. I come across nothing that resembles what I could be, and after getting annoyed I watch some YouTube to pass the time until my date with Alice. Alice texted me to come over early to meet her parents. Texting her back, I'll head over now. I get ready by wearing decent clothes that still fit me. Walking downstairs and saying goodbye to Charlie's and Bella, I drive to the Cullens to pick Alice up. Arriving at their house, it is very beautiful. With a very modern design, made from beautiful wood and many large windows. Looks like a 3-story mansion with a large 3-car garage on the bottom floor. With some extra living space next to it. Getting out of my car, I can hear them all notice my presence as Alice is bouncing with joy and excitement and the others are laughing at her reaction to my presence. Smiling to myself at Alice's excitement for our date, I knock on the door. Not even a second after one knock, the door flies open, revealing Alice at the doorway. Hey Matt. Come inside and meet the rest of my family, Alice says, grabbing my hand and pulling me inside, skipping her way to their living room. She did not even give me a chance to respond, but I just smile and let her lead me. Walking into their living room, they are all sitting there watching TV. They all turn to us as we come into the room and smile at Alice, who has pure happiness on her face. Hey Matt, already meeting the parents? Moving kinda fast, no? Emmett says, chuckling to only get elbowed by Rosalie, making him shut up. Ignore the idiot I'm unfortunately dating, he doesn't know when to talk and when not to, Rosalie says, giving him a hard look. It's fine. Hello Mr. and Mrs. Cullen, I'm Matthew Stromberg. Though you can call me Matt, I say to them, offering my hand in a handshake. Nice to meet you Matt, but you can call me Carlisle, Carlisle says while shaking my hand. And you can call me Esme, Esme says while also then shaking my hand. Did you want something to eat? I made extra food that no one ate, Esme says to me, and knowing that it will earn me brownie points, plus after turning my appetite has increased too. Sure, I'm always hungry, I say to her, smiling, then I can see a look on Alice's face when I say that. After following Esme into the kitchen, she gives me a hefty serving, one that could feed 5 people, though that is because they are out of touch with how much people eat. Though I'm not complaining since I'm hungry as hell. The pasta she made was to die for someone who doesn't cook much anymore. She is one hell of a cook. Mom, can you teach me to cook as good as you? I want to cook for Matt too, I hear Alice whisper to Esme as they watch me gorge myself on her food. Sure thing, my little pixie, I hear Esme give a small chuckle and whisper back. If Alice could cook like this, then I will have the best life forever. Wait, am I immortal now? Or should I still get turned into a vampire to be immortal? Would that even work? I begin to think to myself and start to panic, but push those emotions down. Problems for later, just enjoy this while you can, I think to myself. After I finished eating, we say our goodbyes and head out to the movie theater. We are seeing the once popular film, She's the Man, though Alice was the one to pick it out. We see some of our fellow classmates at the theater who are now whispering about us. Ignoring them, we take a seat and watch the movie. Halfway through the movie, I slyly grab Alice's hand. She looks at me surprised but then smiles and holds my hand back. Then deciding to do the old, yawn, then pace my arm around her should trick, which works. She leans into my embrace, snuggling into me. Now my crazy emotions are in overdrive, making me want to just grab her and have my way with her. Fighting those hormones and pushing them down, I try to focus back on the movie. Then I can feel her staring at me. When the two actors in the movie kiss, I look at her and then we kiss. At first, it was retrained by both of us, but then she starts to kiss me passionately, pushing her tongue in my mouth. Now my horniness is raising again, but I kiss her back just as passionately, our tongues wrestling. Losing ourselves in the moment, we finally realize the movie ended. Walking out of the theater with my arm around her waist and her leaning into me, we get into my car. What to do stargazing before I drop you off? I ask her, not wanting the night to end yet. Sure. Alice says, smiling at me as I drive us to a secluded spot off a trail in the woods. Ch.9. Alice Cullen Pav. Driving on our way to a place Matt wants to stargaze, I cannot help but feel guilty. That I'm lying to him all this time and should come clean to him. Though what Edward said is true, if I tell him about us and he doesn't want to turn into one of us, then the Volturi will come after him and us. He might even think I'm a freak after hearing that I'm a vampire and no longer want to be with me. These thoughts run through my mind. He turns to me and gives me a heartwarming smile. All my worries cease to exist after that smile, and for now, I'm going to live in the moment, as Edith says. I'll ask the others how and when to bring up what we are to Matt. Matt Pav. Arriving at a nice place to stargaze. I grab a blanket that I found in the trunk of my car, not wanting to think about whether or not this was one my parents used. I place it down on the ground in an open spot, lying down with Alice cuddling next to me. I can see she is extremely happy. After watching the stars in the sky for about an hour, just enjoying nature and each other's company, I turn to look at her and we lose ourselves in each other's eyes once again. Putting my hand on her face, I kiss her passionately. Then we start fighting for dominance with our tongues. In the heat of the moment, Alice straddles me, then with a lustful, hungry stare licks her lips seductively at me. My hormones raise even higher. I grab her somewhat roughly and passionately pulling her back in for another kiss. Her hands find themselves under my shirt, roaming my muscular chest and abs. Grabbing her by her ass and giving it a squeeze, she moans in my mouth and then I place her on the ground with me on top of her. Her hands still exploring my upper body, and now my hands go under her shirt and begin exploring her body. Just as I'm about to reach the heavenly mounds on her chest, my phone goes off, breaking the moment. We both break away from one another, looking at my phone. Matt, it's getting late. Though if you plan on spending the night somewhere, just text me back now and use protection. A text from Charlie. Reading the text, I grumble to myself. Well, we should be getting back. I say to Alice now that the mood was ruined and Charlie is not wrong, even though we might have gone through with the final step. I want to come clean to Alice about what I am first. Okay. Alice says to me, pouting a little bit, but then her pixie-like self returns shortly after. God damn it, Charlie, you cock blocker. I think to myself as we get back into my car and head back to her home. Getting back to her home, I walk her to her front door. Giving me another pouting look that the night is ending, I grab her face gently and give her another kiss before I leave. Yeah. Get some. I hear Emmett shout from one of the windows looking outside, and immediately Rosalie slaps him on the back of the head and drags him away by his ear. Bye, Alice. If you want, we can hang out tomorrow too, if you want. I ask her, ignoring Emmett. Definitely. Alice says, no longer pouting about the night ending since it is just the beginning of us spending time together. Driving back home, I walk inside to see Charlie waiting in the living room armchair and one lamp on, with a newspaper in his hands, like the stereotypical dad waiting to catch his kid doing something wrong. Putting it down, he gives me a knowing look. I've always wanted to do that. My dad did it to me once. Though, how was your night? Hope I didn't interrupt anything, Charlie says to me, laughing at my aggravated face. No, actually, I was just dropping her off back at her home, I say to him, not wanting to give him the satisfaction of interrupting us. Good. Then maybe next time text me that you're going to be out later than planned, Charlie says to me, smirking and going back to reading his newspaper. Sure, I say, rolling my eyes and walking to my room upstairs. I see Bella waiting by her door with her arms crossed, looking at me and smirking just like Charlie was at me. Fuck off, Bella, I say to her, giving her an aggravated look and closing my door. Love you too, Matt, Bella says to me as I close my door. Falling asleep relatively quickly, with dreams about Alice. My dream was about to approach the home base just as I was woken up to Bella pounding on my door. Matt, wake up, breakfast is ready. Bella says to me. God damn it. Is everyone in this family a cock blocker? Just you wait, Bella, when you and Edward want some time alone I won't let it happen, I think to myself, having an evil laugh at the end. Walking downstairs and eating breakfast, my phone was buzzing every few seconds, with a new text from Alice. Saying good morning, then asking how I slept and what are we going to do today. Then inviting me over to hang out at her house. Someone must be popular, Charlie says to me after hearing my phone go off for the fourth time in less than a minute. I bet it is his new girlfriend, Bella says, giving me a knowing smirk and trying to embarrass me. Yeah, it's Alice, though it could be Emmett. I mean, I'm friends with the Cullens, they like hanging out with one of us at least, I say to her, getting under her skin and her giving me an agitated look. You started this, I think to myself. Okay, relax you two. The morning just started, Charlie says, seeing another argument about to happen. Well, have a good day everyone, it appears I have plans for today, I say to them and give Bella a smirk, as I head upstairs to get ready before heading over. Just remember what I said last night. Charlie says to me as I head upstairs. After getting ready I head over to the Cullens, however as I pull up to their house I get a text from Jacob. Yo Matt. Got any plans for today? Want to hang out again like old times? Jacob texts me. Sorry man, I've got plans, though Bella's not doing anything, you could try hanging with her, I text him back wanting to annoy Bella. Oh okay, then have fun man. I don't have Bella's number though, he texts me back. Sure, it's XXXXXXXXXXX, I send him her number. Sweet thanks, have a good one, he responds back. Walking up to the door, I don't have to even knock. Once I get close enough, Alice opens the door and jumps into my arms, giving me a kiss. It catches me by surprise, but I go with it, catching her and kissing her back. Good morning, Alice says to me, breaking our kiss while I still hold her with her legs wrapped around my waist. It's a great morning now, I say to her, squeezing her ass a bit, and she giggles at my response. Get a room you two, Jesus. Emmett says, walking past the door and seeing us. Hey Emmett, long time no see, how's the ear? I say to him while putting down Alice, to which she pouts at me, placing her down. Ha, ha, ha. It's fine thank you, Emmett says to me, rolling his eyes at me. Matt, come in, I made breakfast, are you hungry? I see Esme say to me, coming out of their kitchen, knowing that she made it, hearing I was coming over. I helped make it too. Alice says excitedly after hearing Esme asks me. Yeah, I'm always hungry, I say, walking in and eating what they made. Though once again it's enough for a small family, I eat it all happily. So want to do anything in particular today? I ask Alice after eating everything they made. We could work on the art project, hang out in my room, or both, since that is where I do most of my painting, Alice says to me while thinking with a finger on her chin. I'm down for anything, I say to her, then I hear Emmett scoff and laugh at what I said in another part of the house. Shit, we can't do anything fun. It's gonna be awkward knowing her family can hear us, I think to myself at hearing Emmett's perverted mind react to my statement. Great, let's work on the project and go from there, Alice says, grabbing my hand and leading me to her room. Walking into her room I can see that it littered with paintings, finished and unfinished ones. Then I see a walk-in closet with thousands of dollars worth of outfits. There is also a small single-person bed in the back corner of her room. Also, there is a large window that takes up most of one wall, with a very beautiful overlook of the forest. Sorry for the mess, when it comes to painting if I make a single mistake I have to start over, Alice says to me, trying to clean up some of the bad paintings. Just means you take painting seriously and is your passion, I say to her, smiling at her, and she smiles back at me. After spending a few hours working on the art project and then going downstairs to watch some TV. Emmett, Rosalie, Jasper, and Edith all join us in the living room. Want to have a tournament in Super Smash Bros. Melee? Emmett asks everyone. I mean, I'm down for it, but don't want to easily beat you all, I say to them, smirking, since I grew up playing the game in my other life. Oh, now we have to play. Emmett says and everyone agrees. After a few warm-up matches, the tournament starts. Edith and Emmett seem to be the best out of the Cullens. After reaching the finals, it's just Emmett, Edith, and I left, with an AI. It was Emmett versus Edith, me versus the AI. I easily win my match against the AI. Emmett and Edith seem to be just as skilled as one another, making the match go on for an hour since we are playing with lives and not a timer. Eventually, Edith gets the final kill on Emmett. The final match between Edith and me, though it seems she is much more skilled than me, as within the first 10 minutes of toying with me, ends the tournament. I guess you were not as good as you claimed. Emmett says to me, mocking me for losing. Well, I guess my time is taken up with more important things than just playing this all day every day, I say to him, since I'm being a sore loser. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Emmett says to me, smirking at my agitated face. The rest, after relaxing with Alice for a few more hours, I head home before dinner time comes. I did not want them to try to come up with an excuse for not eating. Saying goodbye to them and giving Alice one last kiss, I head home. Ch.10. Matt Pav. Going to school the next day, a lot of people were giving me surprised looks after I walked up to the Cullens and Alice and I kissed. Confirming the rumors I'm sure were spreading after seeing us at the movie theater together. After a few days of the usual going to school, spending time with Alice, and repeating the cycle. Edward finally came back from Alaska on Wednesday. Bella and I saw him come in the car that morning with the Cullens. Walking up to them in the parking lot and getting a running jump hug and kiss from Alice. Hey guys, I say to them while still holding Alice in my arms with her legs wrapped around my waist. What's up, Matt? They all say while only getting a nod from Jasper since he is now surrounded by teenagers again and a curious, annoyed look from Edward. How was Alaska? I ask Edward as he is giving me a hard stare. I guess he can't read my mind either. Cold, Edward says, getting out of the car and walking inside the school, leaving everyone behind. Ignore him, he's just an ass sometimes, Edith says, watching her brother walk away in annoyance. We all have that one in the family, I say to them while thinking about Bella. Putting down Alice and getting another pout after placing her down, she grabs my hand and begins skipping into school. The rest of her family chuckles at her and follows us into school. Like usual, now I join them in the cafeteria at lunch and Edward gives me another annoyed look but ignores me the rest of the time. Eating my food as Alice sits in my lap and feeds me once in a while, we are all just chatting. Edward is staring like a creeper at Bella the whole time, I noticed. Finally, the day ends and we each head home to our separate houses. At home, I can see Bella is really thinking about Edward and trying to figure him out since he was nice to her after returning from Alaska. Alice Cullen Pav. On the drive home, Edward seems to be thinking about his mate most likely. You guys should have told me that Alice's mate has been hanging out with us recently, Edward says after leaving the parking lot. Yeah, we kinda got used to him, so forgot to mention it, Emmett says, shrugging while driving the Jeep. Whatever, did any of you fail to notice his extreme changes though? Edward says to us, and we have, but I don't care, I love him either way. Yeah, we did, but I mean, it could be anything really. I'm not a doctor and Carlisle didn't seem to think much about it, Edith says while the others nod in agreement. So we are just going to ignore that he smells not like a human anymore either. Not only that, but I can't read his mind just like I can't read his cousins, Edward says in an annoyed manner that no one seems to care. You are just annoyed you can't know what he knows and be the privacy invader you are, Rosalie says to him while giving him a hard glare since he likes to read people's thoughts when he thinks they are hiding something from him. She's not wrong, brother, you really need to learn to respect people's privacy. Plus, didn't Carlisle warn you to stop doing that? Edith says to him while raising her eyebrow at him. I haven't read any of your minds since that talk with Carlisle, but they are not one of us, Edward says, trying to defend himself at attempting to read their minds. He is one of us. I say, yell at Edward hearing him say my Matt is not part of the family. Oh, is he? Did you turn him yet? Did you tell him about us? Edward says to me, making me angrier because he is not wrong. Leave her alone, Edward, and even if we haven't told him yet, he will join us soon since Carlisle says we should wait until he is 18 to turn him. Though Alice will tell him when she is ready, Rosalie says to him, jumping to my defense, since Rosalie views me as her actual little sister. Fine, since Carlisle says it's fine, but that doesn't mean I will turn his cousin, Edward says to us while sulking in his seat. Whatever, you idiot, Rosalie says to him, making him grumpier. Matt Pav. The days turn into weeks and Edward is messing with Bella's emotions like normal, with his flip-floppy attitude toward her. One day all nice to her and the next being a moody emo teenager. Getting annoyed that he keeps messing with her feelings, after he sits back down doing that stupid apple trick, I decide to talk with him. Edward, either you like my cousin or you don't. Stop fucking with her and either ask her out on a date or leave her the fuck alone. I say to him with a small growl at the end from my anger fairing. Knowing that both can no longer leave each other alone, it still pisses me off seeing him do this to her. He's right, Edward, Edith says to him, catching him by surprise by what I said and how his whole family is agreeing with me. You don't know anything about us, Edward says to me, stuttering in anger before standing up and storming out of the cafeteria. I know more than you think, I think to myself, watching him storm off and seeing Bella give me an aggravated look, knowing that I said something to him to piss him off. I just shrug at her, making her frown even more. Later that day, as we are leaving school and I'm giving Alice a kiss goodbye before heading to my car, I hear the screeching of tires as Tyler Crowley loses control of his van. Being distracted by Alice, I forgot this was going to happen eventually, and I don't know if Edward would save her. I prep myself to intervene, but luckily I notice Edward is moving to save her, so I relax a bit. The scene plays out with Edward stopping the van from crushing her and telling Bella that he was next to her the whole time and she just hit her head. Though hearing that his whole family facepalmed since I was standing with them before he moved and is looking at me now. Alice with a look of nervousness as she now is going to have to explain what they are. Pretending I don't notice their stares, I run over at normal human speeds to Bella. Oh my god. Bella, are you all right? I'm so sorry, Tyler says to her, getting out of his van and rushing over to her. Edward, seeing me, realizes his mistake and winces as his family all give him a hard stare. Bella, you good? I ask her, pushing Tyler out of the way, making him look at me in anger but then ease up seeing that it's me, her cousin. Yeah, I'm fine, Bella says, trying to process everything that just happened. I'll take you to the hospital, I say, helping her up and into her truck. Alice, can you drive my car over to the hospital for me? I ask Alice as she followed me over. Sure, Matt, Alice says, taking my keys to follow us to the hospital. Getting to the hospital, the usual scene plays out with Tyler apologizing to Bella and Charlie arriving, telling him he can kiss his license goodbye. After leaving Bella to talk with Carlisle and Charlie, I make my way over to Alice, who is standing nervously and giving me a scared look. Alice, you okay? I ask her, knowing why she is nervous, but seeing her like this hurts me. Yeah, though I'm sure you have a lot of questions, can talk in private. Alice says to me while nervously grabbing my hand to lead me outside the hospital. I do have some questions, but maybe we can talk somewhere else, I say to her, bringing her to my car and driving us to the place we stargazed at. During the ride over, she is fiddling with her hands nervously and looking down in fear. I grab her hand gently and give it a reassuring squeeze, getting a surprised and thankful look from her. Parking the car, we get out and sit on the hood as I wait for her to start the conversation. I'm sure you noticed that Edward was with us before suddenly appearing next to Bella and stopping the truck, Alice says to me nervously. Yeah, I noticed that, I say to her, waiting to explain more. What if I was a monster who has done horrible things? Would you still like me? Alice says, looking up at me with worry. No, I wouldn't like you, because I love you, I say, making her look extremely sad and then extremely happy, then lean in to kiss her. She was going to kiss me back, then puts her hand up. Wait, no, you don't understand, she says to me, looking worried again. Yes, I do, you and your family are vampires. I've known since a little before our date. I'm sure you noticed I was different than when we first met. I'm not sure what I am, but I'm definitely not human, I say to her, making her look at me in surprise, but then a knowing look comes on her face. What? How? I noticed you were different but didn't really think too much about it. What are you then? How did you know we were vampires? Alice says to me in quick succession. First, wasn't too hard. You guys avoid the sun, don't ever eat human food, and after I turned into what I am, you all smelled much different than humans, I say to her, shrugging at the obviousness of it. I thought we did a good job at hiding what we are, though you never told me what you are. What do I smell like? She says to me, pouting at me, saying they did a bad job at hiding what they are. Your family smells like rotten food, though for some reason you smell sweet, extremely sweet. As for what I am, it's easier if I just show you, I say to her, getting a curious look from her. I'm gonna have to get undressed for this part, so, yeah, I say to her. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, wait, I won't peek, I promise. She says to me, excited at the idea of me naked, covering her eye with her fingers, but I can see she is peeking but don't say anything. Taking my clothes off, I can see her watching through her fingers in excitement, chuckling at her. I take everything off, though turn around when taking my boxers off. At this, she grunts in annoyance. What's wrong? I say to her, messing with her. Nothing. Was just thinking, what is this taking so long? she says to me while I laugh at her lie, making her fiddle around even more in embarrassment. I stop messing with her as I transform into my bear form, though the pain from the transformation this time is not that bad compared to the others. It also seems to take less time to transform, about a minute and a half. Though I can hear the gasp from Alice as I transform. Turning to look at her in my bear form, I see her just staring at me in shock and not moving. So, yeah, this is what I am. I say to her in my guttural voice. You can talk. Alice screams in shock. That's your biggest surprise from this. I say to her. Well, no, but I mean, yeah, I guess, she says with a shrug, jumping down from the hood of my car and walking around me, inspecting me and poking me here and there in curiosity. You done? I ask her, amused at her inspecting me for 10 minutes or so. Yes. One question though, can I ride on your shoulders? I've always wanted to be tall, she asks me, looking at me cutely. You don't even have to ask, I say, patting my shoulder. She jumps on and we just mess around with each other. After realizing we have been playing around for about an hour, I turn back to my human form. We should get back to the others, I say to her, watching her pout since she was having fun. Wait, what does this mean for us? Alice says to me, thinking about everything that happened today. Well, I did say I love you, but you never said you love me, so, I say, giving a fake hurt face only for her to tackle me to the ground and give me a very passionate kiss. I love you too, my teddy bear, she says to me, breaking the kiss. I just laugh at her response, only she will be allowed to call me that. Ch.11. Matt Pov. After realizing that Alice and I spent an hour here messing around, I check my phone to see that I have a text message from Charlie. Matt, where did you run off to? Charlie's text says. Alice and I left to hang out since Bella was fine and you got there. I text him back, trying to give a good reason for disappearing when Bella was in the hospital. Okay, are you coming home now, or are you spending the night with them? Charlie texts me back and I know what he is trying to imply. I'm going to head over to their house now, I'll let you know if I stay the night, I text him back. Okay, just be safe and don't give me a scare like Bella did today, he texts me back. While texting Charlie, Alice was looking at me in curiosity. My uncle Charlie was asking where I was and I told him I was with you and we are heading back to your house now, I say to her. Yeah, we definitely should head over there. Now that my family knows I probably told you about us, they are going to want to talk to you too, Alice says to me with some nervousness in her voice. You don't have to be nervous, I'm sure your family is going to be fine with me knowing, I say to her, grabbing her hand in reassurance and making her smile at me. I know they will. It's just I'm not sure how they are going to react to your teddy bear side, Alice says to me, interlinking our fingers and smirking at me. I'm only your teddy bear, and if anyone else calls me that, especially Emmett, I'll beat their ass, I say, already imagining Emmett trying to call me that to mess with me. I don't think Emmett may react well to your teddy bearness, Alice says to me as we are getting closer to her house. Why not? I ask her and then remember that Emmett was almost mauled to death by a bear before being turned by Rosalie. Well, before he became a vampire, he was almost killed by a bear, Alice says to me, giving me a nervous smile. Yeah, that would do it. Well, hopefully he doesn't react too poorly, I say to her, thinking maybe I don't show him, but eventually it will happen, especially since I never plan on letting Alice leave my side from now on. Arriving at the Cullens' house, we can hear some of the family yelling at Edward. Though hearing our car pull up outside, they all become quiet and try to figure out who is at their house. Recognizing our smell, Esme opens their door as we are walking up to the house. Alice, you're back, good. Did you two have a good talk? Esme says to her, hugging her and looking at me, trying to read my expression, which is neutral. Yeah, Mom, we talked and he already knew about us, though that's something he will have to explain to everyone, Alice says to her, returning the hug and seeing the surprised look on Esme's face. Walking inside to their living room, they all turn to us and are each looking at me with different expressions. Carlisle is giving me a neutral look and seems to be thinking about something while staring at me. Jasper, Edith, and Edward have a surprised look, probably hearing Alice saying I already knew about them. Rosalie is looking at Alice in concern, trying to see how she is doing, and seeing her happy face relaxes a bit. Emmett has a smirk on his face, knowing him that could mean all sorts of things to the little pervert. So you knew about us, care to explain? Carlisle says, breaking the silence. Well, for starters, you'll all don't do a good job at hiding it, especially now that Edward moved faster than any human possibly could, I say to them, making Rosalie and Edith look at him in aggravation and Edward grumble from their stares. First, you guys only go to school on cloudy days, which here is more often than not, but still suspicious if anyone really paid attention. Secondly, at lunch none of you eat ever, which again could be overlooked by uncaring teens, but to someone interested in you another red flag. I continue to say to them, pausing and seeing them each nod and think about what I'm saying since it's true. Finally, I know you all are not stupid, you each noticed some drastic changes in me, so after turning into what I am, you all smell different than humans, I say to them, and each is about to ask me what I mean, only for Alice to speak first. He's my teddy bear. Alice says, hugging me. Sorry. I just found out too. And he's so cuddly and fluffy, Alice says while rubbing her face into my chest, imagining my bear form currently. Laughing, what does that even mean? Emmett says, laughing hard at Alice's statement. Do you turn into an actual teddy bear? Emmett says while still laughing. I'll show you, but we'll see if you keep laughing once I do, I say to him, rolling my eyes at Emmett. Walking outside, they all follow me to their backyard. So I'm gonna head into the woods since I have to get naked to change or my clothes will be torn to shreds. I say to them to stop them from following me in the woods, though Alice follows me to the edge of the tree and I give her a curious look. I'm just making sure no one peeks, she says to me, and I can see on her face she also has ulterior motives. Sure, I say, going behind a tree and start to undress. No one peek, Alice says to them, and then turns back to me, only for me to throw my shirt on her face and quickly finish undressing and turn into my other form. This transformation is even less painful than the last and takes less time too, maybe just over a minute. After transforming, I see Alice pouting at me for throwing my shirt on her face, though the little pervert sniffs my shirt before giving me a seductively blown kiss and jumping onto my shoulders. Walking out of the forest into the clearing, they all are looking at me in utter shock. Emmett looks like he turned into a statue and has fear on his face. See, like I said, a teddy bear. Alice says from atop my shoulders and hugging my head. I would not consider that a teddy bear, Jasper says in his southern accent with shock still on his face. Maybe I should turn back, I say to them, shocking them further. I can talk, though Rosalie now sees Emmett and is trying to comfort him, but he is just staring at me unmoving. That would be for the best, Carlisle says, seeing the state of Emmett. Grabbing Alice and gently placing her back on the ground, though she has her arms crossed, giving me a pouting look as I take her off of me. Walking back into the woods, I turn back to my human form and get dressed, though noticing that Alice still has my shirt. Rolling my eyes at her, who is smirking at me and holding it, waving it at me. Keep it, pervert, I say to her, playfully pushing her away from me as she skips over to me. Oh, okay, thanks then, Alice says to me, putting it on, and it's like 3 times her size. I wonder what she would look like just wearing one of my sweatshirts. I think to myself, then shaking the horny thoughts from my head. Looking over at the others, I see Emmett is no longer in a frozen state but is now looking at me in fear and wariness. Since I've thought of him as a true friend, seeing him this afraid of me hurts. I'm sorry, Emmett, maybe I should have given you a better explanation before turning. I just have no idea what I am, I say to them, and giving Emmett an apologetic look. Alice, seeing me, gives me a hug from my back. When did you first turn? Carlisle asks me while Rosalie is taking Emmett back inside to comfort him there. The night after I first met you all, though I don't remember anything that happened after I first turned, I say to them as we all are sitting outside now, with Alice in my lap leaning into me and grabbing my arms to place around her waist. Did you turn any time after that, other than showing Alice or us? Carlisle asks me, trying to piece some things together, though I'm not sure what exactly. The others are each now looking at me in realization too about whatever Carlisle is thinking on. Turned again the next night, wanting to see what I was and what I can do. Why did I do something? I ask Carlisle, seeing now the look of confirmation he is giving the others. Matt, are you aware of the shifters in the Quileute tribe? Carlisle asks me. Yeah, I smelled the scent of something like a super wolf and noticed it all comes from their village, I say to him, not wanting to make it seem I know too much. Quileute tribe members, some of them I'm not sure who can or cannot, but they can turn into giant wolves that are able to hunt vampires, Carlisle tells me. The night you turned to test yourself, it seemed you roared, and this panicked the Quileute in us. We have been trying to find out what caused the ruckus, knowing it is you. Do you know any members over there? Carlisle asks me. Yeah, I know some of them, I grew up with some of them, I tell him, knowing he wants me to tell them about myself. Then that will make it easier for you to explain to them what you are. You should head over there as soon as you can to tell them. I promised them I would tell them should I discover anything, but I could not find anything useful. Since you are Alice's mate, then I will give you the chance to tell them yourself, but please do it soon, Carlyle says to me. After a few more questions about what I know about myself and me asking them more questions about them, to make it appear I don't know everything. I was getting late and I decide to head home. Walking inside I hear Rosalie counseling Emmett in their room and him still upset, probably from the memories I brought back to him. Not wanting to make things worse I leave. Texting Charlie I am coming home now, he just says, okay. Getting home, I then realize Alice still has my shirt, shrugging I head to my room and try to get some sleep. Though around midnight I hear a tap on my window. Looking I see Alice smiling at me on the other side and waving. What are you doing here? Not that I mind, and do you really plan on keeping my shirt? I say to her opening the window. Well, you seemed upset that you freaked out Emmett, plus I wanted to cuddle with you. You said I could keep it, no takebacks, she says to me, skipping up to me and kissing me. Yeah, it sucked seeing Emmett like that. After getting to know him, he became a good friend of mine, so it just kinda sucked seeing me that scared of me, I say to her sitting on my bed and sighing. Looking at her I see she has a thoughtful look on her face with a finger on her lips. Lay down, I have a surprise for you, she says, taking her shirt off and throwing it at my face, making me stunned. No peeking, she says as she slaps my hand away from taking her shirt off my face. Then I feel her push me down on my bed and snuggle up next to me in just her underwear. Sorry, I'm cold, she says after taking her shirt off my face. I never noticed, apparently I'm cold too, according to a friend of mine. After we shook hands, I say to her, grabbing her closer to me. I love you, my teddy bear, Alice says to me, kissing me goodnight. Love you too, my pixie, I say, quickly falling asleep with her in my arms. Ch.12. Matt Pov. Waking up, I see Alice and she is running her hands through my hair, it feels amazing. Seeing me wake, she kisses me and it soon turns into another makeout session, though now we both are in just our underwear. After losing ourselves in each other, she begins to run her one hand down my chest and abs, slowly reaching into my boxers, with the other hand still running through my hair. As I slowly bring my one hand under her bar, grasping her breast, making her moan in my mouth, and my other hand slowly reaches down to her nether region as she is reaching for mine. As we both are approaching each other's nethers, a knock on my door makes us jump in surprise as we were blind to our surroundings for a bit. Matt, wake up, breakfast is ready. Bella says to me while knocking on my door. Motherfucker. I think to myself, breaking our kiss. Yeah, okay, be out in a few. I shout at her and hear her walk downstairs. Looking back at Alice, I see she has lust-filled eyes, but we both know we can't go to the next step here and now. You should head back to your house, we can meet up later, I say to her, getting up while taking in her amazing body. Biting her bottom lip and giving me a small pout, she climbs out of my bed. While dressing herself slowly and seductively as I'm throwing on some clothes too and enjoying the show. I better not be kept waiting too long, she says, kissing me and then skipping over to my window. Blowing me one last kiss from the window, she jumps down and heads back to her house. God damn, everyone in this house has a sixth sense when it comes to interrupting me, I think to myself, opening my door and heading downstairs to eat breakfast. While eating breakfast, Bella gets a few text messages, then shortly after I get one too. Hey man, Bella asked me to hang out later at La Push with her friends from school. Want to join us? Jacob texts me. This is where Bella asks Jacob about the Cullens, after doing her research on vampires. Even though I want to hang out with Alice, I should meet with Jacob and then head over to the village with him to talk with Billy, I think to myself. Yeah, I'll keep you company since I know you find other pale skins annoying, I text him back just to mess with him. I called you that as a joke one time. Jacob texts me back. Hey Pixie, Jacob Black wants me to hang out with him. While I'm with him, I'll let them know what I am, I text Alice. Okay. But then we are hanging out. Alice texts me back. Bella, Jacob invited me to join you guys at La Push, I say to her. Whatever, but my friends from school will be there, she says, just shrugging at me. Yeah, I know, Jacob mentioned it. Though as long as they don't annoy me, I don't care, I say to her, and she just rolls her eyes at me. Well, don't be stupid you two, I know some people there like to jump off at the falls, and I hope neither of you does that, Charlie says to us upon hearing our conversation. Well, I'm not stupid, but I don't speak for both of us, I say, smirking at Bella and going back upstairs to get ready. Ha, ha, very funny Matt, Bella says as I leave. After getting ready, I head over to La Push, arriving before Bella. There I see Sam, Paul, and Jared jumping from the falls one by one. Getting out of the water, Sam sees me and waves, recognizing me. Getting out of my car, I can smell them all immediately, and they seem to smell me too as they each stop and look at me. Sam then jogs over to me. Matt, long time no see, you have sure grown up, Sam says to me, eyeing me with suspicion. Yeah, and so have you. You and your pack over there sure smell like wet dogs, I say to him, getting a smirk from him and motioning to follow him. I figured you were different after Billy said that you changed like us overnight, though you're not one of us, so what are you? Sam says as we approach Jared and Paul. Not too sure, to be honest, though I can show you guys, I say to him. Hey Matt, you a shifter too? Jared asks me right away after approaching them. They both give him a look of, really? What? He obviously knows about us, he said it himself, and he smells like a bear, Jared says, shrugging his shoulders and sniffing the air. In a way, I am, I guess, though it's easier to just show you. Are you guys the only wolves? I ask them as we walk away from the beach deeper into the woods. Yeah, though if any more of the bloodsuckers show up, maybe more of us will turn, Paul says, shrugging. Sam gives him an aggravated look. You know about the Cullens, right? Since you know about us, I'm sure you about them, Sam asks me as we keep walking further into the woods. Yeah, my mate is Alice Cullen. After meeting them at school, that night I went through some crazy changes and became what I am, I say to them, making them stop and look at me in surprise. Then I see an angry look from Jared. Your mate is a vampire. They are the enemy, Jared says, growing at me. Jared, calm down. First of all, we have a truce with the Cullens, even though I don't like them, we have to respect the truce. Secondly, he may not be one of us, but we must still respect the imprinting, Sam says to Jared with a tone of, don't question my leadership. Jared just gives me one last look of betrayal and grunts while nodding to Sam. Walking another 10 minutes or so into the woods in silence now. We smell the air, and seeing that no one is anywhere near us, Sam motions for me to show them. I'm gonna have to get naked. Don't want to tear my clothes, I say to them, and they nod in understanding, turning their back to me. Turning once again, I practically feel no pain at all, and it takes less than a minute now to turn, maybe 40 seconds or so. Turning to me, they are shocked. I can speak too, I say to them, and once again shocking them further. In our forms, we can speak too, but only with one another and in our minds, Sam says while inspecting me in curiosity. Though we are like giant wolves, show him Paul. I have no idea what you are though, maybe one of our elders knows more. Though that's up to you to ask them, Sam says to me and motions for Paul to turn. Looking away from Paul as he removes his shorts and turns into a wolf. It would seem it does not really cause them pain as it does me, and they turn in an instant, maybe several seconds really. Walking up to me, Paul sits in front of me sniffing me and then turns to Sam, saying something as Sam seems to respond to him. Paul said you are giving him the same smell from the place where we heard an unknown roar, you know anything about that? Sam asks me. Yeah, that was me, I told the Cullens about what I am yesterday, and Carlisle told me to meet with you guys and tell you it was me and what I am, I say to Sam, and make sure he knows Carlisle is trustworthy. Well, at least now we know, though you should come with us back to the village. The elders might want to make an alliance with you now too, since you are a somewhat neutral party, Sam says to me as Paul and I shift back, putting our clothes on. Well, I'm not really a neutral party, since Alice is my mate, and would do anything for her, so by proxy I'm more on the Cullens' side, I say to Sam, making him raise an eyebrow at me, and Jared gives me a hateful look. Makes sense. Either way, they will want to talk and maybe edit the existing truce then, Sam says as we start to head back out of the forest. I'll head over there, but I did promise to hang out with Jacob for a bit today. When we are done hanging out, I'll head over with him to his house. Tell Billy that I'll be coming to talk, I guess, I say to Sam. He nods and they head to the village as I head back to La Push. Walking back to my car, I see Jacob telling Bella about the legend of the Quileute tribe. Bella asks him about the Cullens and he just says to stay away from them, that they are no good. However, before Bella can dispute him or argue, they see me approaching them. Matt, where were you? We saw your car but didn't know where you went, Jacob says to me as I walk over to them. I saw Sam, Paul, and Jared earlier. We decided to catch up and I headed over to the falls with them. I want to head back to the village later to talk to your dad. I have some questions for him about a school project based on your tribe, I say to them, coming up with a somewhat lie. Oh well, you can ask me, I might be able to help you, Jacob says to me. They are about the history of your tribe. Not sure you would be as informed as him, I say to him, but before he can respond, Jessica runs over to us. Bella, are you just going to sit here all day or gonna join us? Jessica asks Bella but now notices me. Matt, I thought you would be hanging out with that little freak of a girlfriend. Jessica says to me with jealousy in her voice, even though my anger spikes at her for that, I take a deep breath. Are you always a bitch? Or only when you can't get what you so desperately want? I say to her, smirking at her, and she gives me an angry look. At this point, Mike runs over too, noticing Jessica hasn't returned yet. Everything okay over here? Mike asks, seeing the awkward atmosphere. Yeah, I was just leaving. Jacob want to come with me? I say to them and ask Jacob. Sure, was getting crowded here anyway, Jacob says, giving a smile to Bella and an aggravated look at Jessica. Getting into my car, we drive off to the village. So what did that bitch mean by your girlfriend? Jacob asks me, and I remember how much he hates the Cullens, and especially after Edward steals Bella from him. Well, I'm dating Alice Cullen, I say to him, and look at his reaction when I say that from the corner of my eye. What? Matt, you have no idea who they really are. You need to get away from them. Jacob says to me with concern for my well-being. Actually, I know what they are exactly, and I can't. She's my mate, I say to him, now confirming he knows they are vampires since he was only hinting what they were to Bella. Wow, what do you mean, mate? Jacob says to me, freaking out at this information. When we get to your house I'll explain more, just text Sam to meet us there, I say to him, and he gives me a hard stare but then nods. Better have a good explanation for dating a bloodsucking freak, Jacob says with venom in his voice. My anger flares again, and I take another deep breath. Only going to warn you once, like the wolves I have a short fuse, and when someone says stupid shit about my mate, well, my anger flares. Please don't make me lose control, I say to him with anger in my voice, and he gives me a surprised look but then nods. The rest of the drive is in silence. Ch.13. Matt Pav. Pulling up to Billy Black's house, I see him sitting outside smoking his pipe and Sam sitting next to him. Seeing us pull up, Billy waves at me, but seeing Jacob is angry about something gives him a curious look. Just a crazy growth spurt, huh? Billy says to me, smirking as we walk up to them. I mean, I'm not technically wrong, I did grow like a crazy and change overnight, I say to him, and get a snort of amusement from Sam. Sam told me what you showed him and that Alice Cullen is your mate, Billy says to me while smoking his pipe. That pretty much sums up what has happened the last couple of weeks, I say to him, shrugging. So you really are like the wolves? Jacob says to me, surprised. In a way, though I'm surprised you know about them not being one yourself, I say to him while looking at Billy and Sam. Since I'm an elder in the tribe, Jacob would take my position one day, and ever since the Cullens came back and our people started changing again. I told him about our legend and that it was true, not sure how much longer I got, Billy says to me, shrugging at his eventual death. I see, well, you may want to talk with the other elders and discuss a revision of the truce, I would suggest an alliance. One in case either side gets attacked or finds a situation that they need help, then the other side would provide assistance, I say to them, thinking about the possible future events with the Volturi. You want us to ally ourselves with those bloodsuckers? Jacob says, looking at me in disbelief and anger, while Billy is thinking about my suggestion. I would suggest it, what do you have to lose? They have proven time and time again they are trustworthy, I say to them, and make Jacob look at me in even more disbelief and anger. You're not wrong, though I'll have to talk with the other elders first, Billy says while Sam nods in agreement. You can't be serious, Dad. Who knows if one day they decide to turn on us and kill us like the bloodsuckers they are. Jacob says to them, his whining pissing me off more and more. Shut the fuck up, Jacob. You know next to nothing about them and only hear the stories passed down from your elders. I say to him, getting fed up with his attitude. Sam, seeing my anger spike, gets nervous and Billy notices his reaction. Jacob, go cool down, and Billy yells at him before he can piss me off further. Fine, Jacob says, interrupting him and storming off. I'll make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. Here's my number in case you need to contact me for anything in the future, Sam says to Billy, and then turns to me, giving me a paper with his cell phone number. Then runs after Jacob, leaving Billy and me alone. Jacob is just. Billy starts to say, trying to find the right word. Hot-headed, yeah, I've known him since we were kids and he hasn't changed since, I say to him, getting a nod in agreement from Billy. Well, I'm gonna talk with the elders later, and after talking we'll contact Carlisle. Whatever the changes that may occur, I'm sure Carlisle will tell you, and I'll have Sam text you too, Billy says to me after taking a few more puffs on his pipe. Thanks, Billy, and sorry for the mess I caused, I say to him, feeling kinda guilty for the mess I made. Just hope you are happy with your mate. Everyone deserves happiness, Billy says to me while I walk away and wave goodbye as I drive to the Cullens to meet with Alice. Texting Alice I'm coming over and if I should wait outside due to the Emmett situation and texted Charlie I'm gonna hang with Alice. Alice said to come inside because Emmett wanted to talk with me anyway. Pulling up to their house I see Alice waiting outside for me and seeing me skips over to me smiling at me. Took you long enough. Alice says kissing me after I get out of my car. Sorry, the meeting with the Quileute took longer than I thought it would, I say to her as she grabs my hand leading me inside. Walking inside I see Emmett and Rosalie waiting in the living room for us. Seeing me Emmett tenses up, but quickly forces himself to calm down. Hey, guys, I say to them while rubbing the back of my head awkwardly. Alice let's cook something for Matt, I'm sure he's hungry, Rosalie says grabbing Alice and dragging her into the kitchen so Emmett and I can talk, plus I was hungry. Sorry for, I start to say to him, but he stands up and approaches me. No, you have nothing to be sorry for, just seeing you brought back some bad memories. Though I should have known that even though you're different now, it's still you, Emmett says offering his hand in a truce. Grabbing his forearm and him grabbing mine we squeeze each other's arm but not enough to hurt one another. See, the two muscle-headed idiots made up and are BFFs again, Rosalie says to Alice while they are standing in the doorway of the kitchen watching us. I thought you were cooking something. I can order pizza, but I'm hungry as hell, I say to them turning to look at them. I can't cook for the life of me, Alice is still learning though, Rosalie says to me shrugging at me. Yeah, let me cook for you. What do you want? Alice says to me looking at me in excitement. I'll eat anything, I say to her shrugging and walking into the kitchen. While Alice is cooking some food for me in the kitchen, Rosalie and Emmett are hanging out with us in the kitchen. Emmett asked me questions about what I think I am and what I can do now. Alice finished cooking, making spaghetti and meatballs. Taking a bite, I almost spit it out from the amount of salt she added. How does it taste? Do you like it? Alice asks me giving me a curious look and smiling at me. Seeing her face looking at me with happy expectations I couldn't bring myself to tell her the truth. Quote. Really great. I say to her trying not to throw up on the overly salty food. Yes. Then I'll cook for you whenever you come over. Alice says to me happily cleaning up the mess in the kitchen. Fuck. I messed up, I think to myself and force the rest of the food down. After eating the food we hung out in her room, and then we all watched a movie in her living room. Then the weekend was over just like that. On Monday the school field trip to the local botany center happened. After getting on the bus to head over there, the biology teacher tried to show students how cool botany was. Edward then approached Bella again trying to talk with her, but his two sides of wanting to be with her and not wanting to turn her into a monster showed themselves again. Edward is really making himself seem like a crazy bipolar person, I say to Alice watching the interaction as we walk through the indoor gardens. Making all the Cullens laugh at Edward and me turning back to look at me with a heated gaze. I told you to get your shit together and stop messing with her like a jackass, I say only for the Cullens to hear and making Emmett chuckle even more, while Edward has an even more gloomy mood now. Stop torturing him, he can't help but be an idiot, Edith says while we all laugh. Edward is now trying to ignore us and focus on Bella. For my teddy bear, Alice says putting a picked flower in my hair and I can see Emmett smirking at me when that happens. Now your teddy bear just needs a good squeeze, Emmett says laughing at his own joke. Everyone else just rolls their eyes at him. Emmett, I'm only a teddy bear for Alice, you don't want me to give you a bear hug now do you? I say to him with an evil smirk, but is not really working as Alice is putting more flowers in my hair and humming happily to herself. I'll take my chances, teddy bear, Emmett says to me smirking. A few more weeks go by and I haven't talked with Jacob since the meeting with Billy. Sam texted me that the elders were still discussing the truce and it could take a few months before the old idiots make a decision. Then I realized that prom is happening towards the end of this year. Seeing all the photos in the Cullens in the house in past proms, however not seeing Alice in any of the photos for it. When we were working on the art project at her house one day after school, I just decide to ask her to prom, I'm not one of that prom proposal kinda guys though. Alice, did you want to go to prom together? I ask her as we are sitting on her bed relaxing after finishing our art project. Yes. I thought you would never ask. She says to me turning to look at me giving a fake hurt expression. Sorry, kinda forgot about it until I saw the photos of everyone in the house, I say to her making her pout at me. I never had any date to the prom before, at least one I wanted to go with. Now I have you. Alice says to me, still pouting, but then perks up at saying she has me. You always will too, I say to her and start another makeout session. I'll make plans to pick out our outfits and we can do it with the others. Alice says to me, breaking our kiss, but before I could respond continues to make out with me. As the weekend approaches that Saturday, Bella was going out with her friends from school to pick their prom outfits even though Bella doesn't have a date for it yet. I head out with all the Cullens, except for Edward, Esme, and Carlisle. Jasper, Emmett, and me waiting in the waiting area as the girls pick out the dresses they want to wear. You didn't bring anything to pass the time. This is going to be an all-day thing, Emmett says to me, seeing I'm just sitting there. He has brought a Game Boy and Jasper is reading a book. You fucking kidding me, right? I say to them and realize they are probably right. Yeah, this ain't our first rodeo, Jasper says to me in his southern accent and laughing at my depressed face. Fuck. Did you guys bring anything else with you? I ask them and they both shake their heads. Then you're sharing, Emmett. I say to him, grabbing his Game Boy from his hands. The game he was playing was Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow, and I just give him a look of, really? Fuck off. I like it, Emmett says, grabbing the Game Boy back. You're an actual vampire, why the fuck are you playing a game about vampires? I say to him in exaggeration. It's because of that exactly, since I'm a real vampire. Then I'm just seeing how real this game is, Emmett says to me and Jasper just laughs at him. You both are jackasses, I say to them and make them laugh even more. Ch.14. Matt Pov. After a couple of hours of trying to not lose my mind from having the girls pick their dresses out and annoying Emmett. It was our turn and like the good guys we are, we're dressed up in several different tuxedos. After the fourth tux, Alice decided this one was good enough. Going to a local restaurant since I was hungry and the others joined us. They each ordered something small and let me eat everything they ordered. Shit. Isn't today the day those pieces of shit try to mess with Bella? I think to myself as Alice is feeding me, as she enjoys doing that. Alice want to walk around town to pass the time. I ask her after we leave the restaurant since I want to try to keep an eye on Bella. Sure. See you guys later. Alice says, grabbing my hand and humming while skipping down the street with me. After walking around town and just enjoying each other's company, I see Edward ahead of us stalking Bella like the creeper he is. Bella then walks down into an alley by herself like an idiot and Edward quickly gets into his car to follow after her. Deciding that just in case something happens I want to follow them. Alice is that Edward and is he following Bella? I point them out to her and she is trying to tiptoe to see them. Chuckling at her action, I pick her up and put her on my back, with a yelp in surprise, then smiling and wrapping her legs around my waist she sees them now. Yeah, it is. Did he finally ask her out or just watching her like a creep? Alice says to me while giving a weirded out look at Edward. Let's go ask, I say as we walk down the street toward them. As we follow behind them I can hear the guys messing with Bella and Edward drives almost into them. Then we hear the threatening conversation with them from Edward and him putting Bella in his car. Deciding that I want to break some bones on potential assaulters, who knows if they will try this again, especially against another lone woman in the future. Feeling my anger and bloodlust Alice looks at me in worry. Edward, take Bella out of here. I want to have a talk with them, I say to him as he is about to intimidate them further. Seeing Alice and me, he is surprised at first but then nods and leaves with Bella. Are you going to kill them? Alice asks me as I take her off of my back and Edward drives away with Bella, who now sees me and gives me a worried look. Maybe, or I might just cripple them. You know what they were going to do, I say to her and she just gives me a nod. Okay, just don't want you to regret this later, Alice says to me as I walk over to them. Giving her a reassuring smile I walk over to them. There are about 5 drunk idiots who are staring at me and giving a lustful look towards Alice now, making my anger spike to even higher levels. I was going to just break some bones, now some backs, I think as I walk over. You took our fun away, but at least you brought a new piece of ass, one of them says slurring his words. Well now I'm gonna have to kill you all, I say as I feel nothing but a blood rage. They each give me a look of disbelief since I'm just 1 against 5. Before any more words are spoken, I move faster than any can perceive, even Alice. Ripping the head off of one who spoke and throwing his head at the others, his body spewing blood and falling down. The others don't move, trying to process what just happened, and then finally realizing one of them died they try to scream. However, before they can I move once again punching them each in their throat to prevent any sounds from coming out, but not enough to kill them. I want them to suffer, as they each fall to their knees grasping their throats in pain. Matt, calm down. You already killed one. Don't, Alice after seeing what is happening and rushes in front of me stopping me and giving me a very saddened look. Alice, these monsters don't deserve to live. I say to her while completely ready to tear them apart, but she is still in front of me, and seeing her look gave me pause. Matt, I know. Rosalie killed those who hurt her like these men who wanted to hurt your cousin. After killing them she was satisfied, but once you kill someone there is no going back. I don't want you to regret this later, Alice says to me worried for me. I have never seen this serious before since she is usually just her normal happy-go-lucky self. Fine. I won't kill them. But that doesn't mean I won't break them, I say to her relenting to her advice. Sighing at me and giving me a weak smile she steps aside. Walking up to them as they are each trying to get up and run but the pain has kept them down. I grab one and give a precise jab at his neck breaking it in a place that won't kill him but paralyze him from the neck down. Luckily college autonomy is coming in use now, I think after trying to figure out where to hurt them. Deal with the plot armor I have created. Doing the same to the others, I drop them all on the ground as they lay there. While Alice made a phone call to Carlisle from the sounds of it. Carlisle is coming with Emmett, they will be here in a few. Thank you for not killing the others, Alice says to me after hanging up and hugging me. I just give her a weak smile as the men who I paralyzed have passed out from the pain. As Carlisle and Emmett arrived from running over here. They see the situation even now even though Alice told Carlisle on the phone. I know how hard it is to hold back after feeling such anger. You did good, Carlisle says patting my shoulder and checking on the drunk men. Damn Matt, pretty brutal of you, but I would have killed the rest, Emmett says seeing the ripped head off and still living drunkards. Emmett. Alice says hearing him giving him an angry glare and he just shrugs at her. Emmett and I will make it look like they killed this guy and got hurt in the process and then I'll call your uncle. I can give them some medication to induce short-term memory loss, so they don't remember it was you, Carlisle says injecting them with needles. Thanks Carlisle, I say as Alice is dragging me back to my car to leave. Both he and Emmett give me a nod as we leave. Emmett might have been right, maybe I should have let you kill them, Alice says as we are driving back to her house. No, you did what you thought was right and I don't want you to ever change. Plus I may need you to stop me from doing stupid shit in the future, I say to her and she nods smiling at me. As the next weekend ends and the new week starts, on Friday like usual I'm with the Cullens in the cafeteria. Now though they bring small lunches and slyly pass them to me to make it look like they do eat food. Though during lunch Edward gets up and Bella follows him outside. Took him long enough to tell her what they are, I think to myself watching them leave. They trying to get a quickie in before the next class. Emmett says seeing them head into the forest and making me choke on my lunch. What the fuck Emmett? That is my cousin. I say to him while coughing. Yeah and woman fuck too you know, though I guess you wouldn't since you and Alice haven't yet, or am I wrong? Emmett says giving me a smirk and Alice looks down like she is blushing if vampires could blush. Everyone is just staring at him like, what the fuck? You're sleeping alone tonight, Rosalie says giving him an annoyed look. Guess you're not getting anything now, I say to him smirking. You both are jackasses, Edith says while Rosalie is giving me an agitated look too now. As the bell goes off, we see Edward and Bella return from the woods, walking shoulder to shoulder. Finally told her, took him long enough, I say seeing them and the other nod in agreement. After school ends and we head home. Bella has been staring at me the whole time like she wants to talk but doesn't know how to broach the subject. What do you want to talk about? I ask Bella walking into her room since the door was open and she was reading a book on her bed. Do you know? Bella says to me in a cryptic manner. I know a lot more than you, I say to her smirking and getting an agitated look from her. No, but seriously know what? I say before she can talk. Shut the door, I don't want Dad to hear, Bella says, sighing. I close the door and take a seat on her desk chair, motioning for her to continue. That the Cullens are vampires, Bella says to me almost whispering it. Yeah, I've known since I started dating Alice, I say to her rolling my eyes and getting a surprised look from her. Why didn't you tell me then? I've been trying to figure it out the whole time. Bella says to me annoyed at me. Well, since I hope Edward told you, that only supernatural creatures can know about supernatural creatures, so I couldn't tell you. Also since they plan for us to join their family they told us so it's fine if we know. Plus how did you not figure it out? They sucked at hiding it and still do, especially Edward, he practically showed you outright, I say to her smirking at her for not piecing it together sooner. Whatever, Matt. I'm going to meet the rest of them tomorrow before going on a date with Edward, Bella tells me, still annoyed at me. Okay, I will probably be there anyway since I'm there most of the time anyway, I say to her and leave her room. Uncle Charlie. Bella is dating Edward Cullen and is going on a date with him tomorrow. I shout to him and run to my room, closing the door and locking it as Bella jumps up and tries to chase after me. What? Bella, is that true? You better tell him to come here first, I want to talk with him. Charlie says, walking up the stairs to talk to Bella. Fine, Dad. Bella says, walking into her room and slamming the door, locking it. Fuck you, Matt. Bella texts me after going to her room. Ch.15. Matt Pov. After waking up the next day, I see Alice cuddling me in my bed, as this became a common occurrence ever since the day she first snuck over. Good morning, she says to me in her normal energetic self. Morning, I say, yawning, then kissing her. Let me get ready, then I'll head over to your house, though I kinda want to see how Edward reacts to my Uncle Charlie, I say to her, laughing to myself at the awkward conversation between the two. He said he was gonna get her later in the afternoon, gonna make me wait that long. She says to me, crossing her arms and pouting. Maybe, I say, smirking at her and leaving my room. Scoffing at my response, she then sticks her tongue out at me before jumping out my window to head back to her home. After getting ready for the day and eating breakfast, I see Bella texting a lot on her phone while we were eating. That your boyfriend? Or just the idiots you hang out with at school? I ask her, and making Charlie look at her more curious now too, and her giving me a glare. Boyfriend? They didn't even go out on a date yet. Charlie says, concerned he was too late. I mean, when I had my first date with Alice, you said, be safe. I say to him, mimicking him and making him now look at Bella even more concerned. Bella, I don't think it's a good idea for you to go on this date. I want to just maybe run a background check on him first, then meet him, you know, Charlie says to her, while I'm laughing and Bella looks annoyed beyond belief. Dad, he's coming to pick me up later and we are going on date whether you like it or not. Bella says, giving him a glare. Fine, but I want to meet him before the date at least, Charlie says to her, not backing down. Whatever. But how come Matt can date Alice for a couple of months now and you haven't met her yet? Bella says to him, throwing me under the bus. Now I'm giving her a stare, saying, I'm gonna get you back for that, and she is looking at me smugly. True, Matt, you should invite Alice over today or tomorrow, she can have dinner with us and I can get to know her, Charlie says to me, with Bella smirking at me even more. Yeah, I was going to go over there anyway today, but I'll tell her to come over to meet you real quick, I say to him, shrugging and ignoring Bella. Texting Alice that I could pick her up to meet Charlie, and after about 10 minutes of no response, I call her. As soon as I call her, I can hear her jumping on the roof to the window of my room, knocking on it, and smiling. Giving her a confused look, I open the window. I'm here, Alice says, jumping into my room. Yeah, I see that, but how am I going to explain to you where in my room the whole time? I say to her, rubbing my forehead. Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot, Alice says to me, giving me an embarrassed smile. Just get into my car and we can go for a drive before we come back, I say to her, throwing her my keys as she climbs out my window. Telling Charlie I was going to hang out with Alice, as I went to my car, and then bring her back so he can meet her, he just nods while watching TV. Getting to my car, I see Alice sitting in the passenger seat with it all the way down, trying to hide. Laughing, I get into the driver's side, starting the car. Having fun, I say to her as I enter the car, and she nods, smiling at me. You can sit up now, I say to her after pulling away from my house. Which she quickly does immediately. Where do you want to drive to? I ask her as I'm driving aimlessly. Oh, I know. The place we did the stargazing. Alice says excitedly, and I can see she has something in mind, so nodding, I head over to the secluded area. Pulling up to the area, I turn the car off and look at her in curiosity, since it's still daytime we can't stargaze. Grab the blanket and let's do cloud watching. Alice says, getting out of the car and skipping over to the open field. Smelling the air and making sure we are alone first. Chuckling at her carefree attitude, I get the blanket and lay it down where she is at. She quickly lies down and grabs my hand, pulling me down next to her. For a few minutes we are just watching the clouds, but looking at her now I can see the sun sparkling off of her and it just enhances her beauty. Seeing me looking at her, she smiles and then starts to kiss me, which quickly turns very heated. R18 warning. R18 over. Lying down naked and cuddling on the blanket, just basking at the moment we had together. I see that we spent over an hour here together, did not feel like we were here that long together. After relaxing for a few more minutes together, we get dressed and head back to my house so Alice can meet Charlie. Both of us just smiling like idiots on the drive back home. Arriving outside my house, we walk up to the door and entering, I see Charlie is still watching TV. Uncle Charlie, Alice is here if you want to meet her, I say to him as we enter the living room. Huh. Oh, Matt. Hello, you must be Alice. Matt here talks about you constantly, that is if he is not with you, Charlie says to her, shaking her hand in greeting and smirking at me when saying that, though I just roll my eyes at him. I figured, he's obsessed with me, Alice says to him, laughing at what Charlie said, and he laughs with her. After watching TV in the living room and Charlie asking her all the questions he wants. They seem to get along really well. Before we know it, Alice and I can hear Edward pull up outside to the door. Walking up to the door, Bella rushes downstairs assuming he texted her he arrived. Seems like Edward is here, I say, seeing Bella try to sneak out, without Charlie interrogating Edward. Jumping up at seeing her trying to leave, Charlie grabs his shotgun and makes his way over to the door. Seeing Bella trying to drag Edward away, though like the old-fashioned gentleman he is waiting to meet Charlie. Bella trying to sneak away. Charlie says to her as Alice and I are standing behind him watching the interaction. Hello, sir. You must be Bella's father, I'm Edward Cullen. Nice to meet you, Edward says to him, offering him a handshake. After staring at Edward for a minute, nods and shakes his hand. Come on in, I just want to talk to you about something, Charlie says, gesturing for him to come inside, putting the shotgun over his shoulder. Dad, we have a reservation, so we can't wait, Bella says, trying to leave already. Fine, then just two things. First, her curfew is 11 p.m. 2,300 hours, so she will be home by then and no later. Secondly, I'm the chief of police, so won't be too hard to find you, Charlie says in a somewhat threatening manner. Of course, sir, I'll have her back before 11, Edward says as he finally lets Bella drag him to his car. Be safe, you two, Charlie shouts as they leave. Turning to see us now laughing at that interaction, and he just shrugs at us, closing the door. You know, Uncle Charlie, that Edward is the brother of my girlfriend here, in case you forgot, I reminded him, since if Alice didn't know Charlie wasn't really a threat, that it could have gone poorly for my relationship with her. Charlie says, realizing his mistake now and rubbing the back of his head, unsure of what to say. It's fine, Mr. Swan, my dad was the same way with Matt, Alice says, trying to cheer him up. Good. It's just hard for dads to let their daughter grow up and go out with someone, Charlie says to her and nods to himself for doing the right thing. Okay, well, we are going to head over to her house now. I'll be back later tonight, I say to Charlie as we head outside to go over to her house, especially since I want to see Bella meet everyone. Okay, be safe as well, Charlie says to us as we leave the house. To be continued. Thanks for watching.